championship if you score in all likelihood. And perhaps the CFP. Jackson trying to turn the corner, and he did not get there. Dillon McGuire raced him to the pylon and made sure he came up inches short.
Welcome to Sikkim 365 Radio.
Lefty from Australia, second oldest player in college football, kicks it back there, and that punt is blocked, and Oklahoma State falls right at the 5-yard line. Gray gives a huge gift to Oklahoma State.
Sikkim 365 Radio's live coverage from Big 12 Media Days at AT&T Stadium in Arlington is presented by Three Nations Brewing Company. Respect tradition. We make great beer with new innovative brewing techniques, and you can find Three Nations beers anywhere where premium craft beer is sold.
Corral on 2nd and 15 as they're chopping down on his legs, and then they take him down high as well. Ika finished it.
Also brought to you by IdealMRI.com, Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, Waco Custom Marketplace, Boozer's Jewelers, Stonewood Dental, Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac, Edward Jones Financial Advisors, Petty Clinic Low T, Pioneer Steel and Pipe, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat.
Daniels flushed. Daniels, end zone, caught! Kansas wins it! Jared Casey, the hero, and the Jayhawks find a way.
Now here's David Smoak and Craig Smoak.
It is day 2 and the last of the 2 days of Big 12 Media Days at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, where the Big 12 will wrap up their season like they did a year ago when Baylor and Oklahoma State played for the championship. They will do that again in December this year. Good afternoon, Craig Smoak, David Smoak, Paul Catalina again on vacation, back next week. And behind the mothership, Levi Caraway, Emery Winter, Brian Etheridge, Jack McKenzie, and Garrett Ross. Good afternoon. We will bring you today Matt Campbell, Bijan Robinson, Dillon Gabriel, Joey McGuire, and Trevius Hodges-Tomlinson, the star cornerback who's from Waco, from TCU. Craig Smoak, it's day 2. It's been a little bit interesting. I get the feeling from a lot of people I've spoken to today, text today, that everybody, no matter what is the unknown around college athletics, the landscape, everyone's starting to turn their focus to football X's and O's.
I think that's what I've been saying for like 2 days now.
Yep.
Is everybody's talking about realignment, and everybody's talking about NIL, and everybody's talking about this thing or that thing, and you can talk about all of that and talk about, the actual game itself too, and that's what's upon us is the games. And, realignment took over this time last year. As a matter of fact, was it a week from like tomorrow or something is the anniversary of the OU in Texas busting of that story by Brent Zwerneman. So that's probably going to still be in play. I think definitely with the new commissioner here in the Big 12, Yormark, and his comments yesterday, and I'm sure comments that he's made today. I have been able to check up. I know he's been around here, though, doing interviews. So I wonder what else he may have said. But, that's going to keep the expansion talk churning. And obviously whatever happens with the Pac-12 and their TV negotiations is going to say a lot. So that's not going to go away. But one thing is for sure is, coming down the tracks, there's actual football games, And quite frankly, I am just so happy to know that we're going to have some games coming up, because all this other stuff's fun too, but we've been talking about this other stuff for months on end now.
Well, it seems like a year. Yeah,
so we've been hyping up, whatever people got through the transfer portal, and we've been hyping up Quinn Ewers, and we've been hyping up Joey McGuire, and we've been hyping up Dave Aranda and Baylor, and we've been, and now it's like, okay, now let's see these guys play. Let's see if Quinn Ewers is the real deal. Let's see if, Sonny Dykes going to come in and give this whole new flavor to TCU. Let's see if Dave Aranda can back-to-back it. Let's, I'm ready to see that. Let's see what Joey McGuire does in year one, and we're getting a little taste of that being on the way, and it does feel good.
It does feel good, and who knows what this will be like next year, because no one knows. We do know that next year there'll be at least 4 other teams involved, UCF, Cincinnati, Houston, and Brigham Young. We just don't know who else will be a part of it at that particular time. But we do have a really good lineup for you, including back-to-back what should be live segments with quarterback Dillon Gabriel, Oklahoma, and then also Bijan Robinson, the running back out of the University of Texas. We did have a chance earlier today with both Joey McGuire and Matt Campbell. We'll bring those to you today as well. And then Trevius Hodges-Tomlinson with a big chip on his shoulder from the time he basically was born. His story, the TCU All-American candidate at cornerback from Midway High School. We did his high school games and broadcast them as well. I also, from a couple of people I've talked to that kind of follow college football and maybe have their ear to the ground, that really, and we say this, it's a calming period right now. No matter what, we don't know what's next. And so I think maybe, and I'll ask you this in the chat room and also the text line 254-339-1122. Yes, there's always the interest of what is next, what's the next whatever to fall. But are you ready to just talk about football and discuss teams and records and players and coaches and rivalries? Is that what you want, even with we know what is out there with realignment as a part of the discussion?
I think fans who don't have a team that's probably going to be very good this year will say no. I mean, I think they still want to see their team, but I think they probably enjoy all this other stuff that can be quite exciting. But, yeah, I mean, is everybody out there ready, or do we need another month and a half to gear up for some people? I know some people still got vacations coming up or whatever the case may be, so it might not feel like we're right there turning that corner just yet. But for us being here, like, it feels that way. I mean, it feels like, all right, the games are on the way now. And again, I'm looking forward to it because, I mean, we've heard so many different storylines, and we'll talk about them today. But, ultimately it's about what actually does occur because we talked at length about Baylor last year prior to the season and our expectations for them. But actually seeing them go out and do what they did was way more exciting. A lot of people talked about Oklahoma and expectations for Lincoln Riley, and all of a sudden, boom, here's the USC deal at the end of the year. I mean, Texas with Steve Sarkisian, a lot of hype for him, year one or not. Boom, turns out to be a year where, there's good, there's bad, and then there's a big offseason to correct what might not have been great last year, and, coaching changes and transfers. And, I want to see Dillon Gabriel out there playing for Oklahoma, and I just think about what that might be like, and it'll be fun to talk to him and pick his brain a little bit, but I will much prefer seeing him in 6 weeks actually throwing the football around for the Sooners.
And we do have a chance to visit with him momentarily. You want to break here, Garrett, or you want to just keep going all the way until we see him? One of the things, listen, I'm going to throw out a team, Craig, and you give me just kind of your thoughts in a very quick summary, 30 seconds or so, about what you expect or think of them, okay?
All right.
We did not practice this. West Virginia.
I think they're going to be better. I think that they've made some good moves this offseason. I think Graham Harrell certainly has gotten some pretty good marks already from Neil Brown and JT Daniels. I'm not going as crazy over that pickup as some West Virginia fans have on our chat room, but I'm not thinking that's not going to make a huge impact. I do think that it will, and I think West Virginia is going to be a solid football team. You look at, finished with, 7 wins last year, and, now having another year under Neil Brown's belt, having the best quarterback on paper they've had in his entire tenure there, now under center. And Harrell, as I mentioned, I think they're going to be good. I think they're going to be a team that's definitely a bowl team, but to what extent, 8 wins, 9 wins, how high can it go? I don't know that just yet.
Texas Tech.
I think that they are absolutely loving the fact that people are putting them at like 9th in the Big 12 because Joey McGuire is a first-year head coach. Will you actually look at the team? Look at what's coming back. Like, I don't know. I guess maybe it's just because I saw how Dave Aranda in year one struggled mightily. It was a COVID year. I saw how Matt Rule struggled in year one. It was a scandal year. Those guys had legit reasons why there was a massive downturn in what was going on before that. The rosters had been torn apart or the staffs had been torn. That's not the case at Texas Tech. There's not a scandal. They weren't a bad, horrible team. They were a bowl team last year. They won their bowl game last year. They've got their entire quarterback room coming back. They've got skill guys coming back. They've got defensive stars coming back like Tyree Wilson. There's a couple of places where they might not quite have the depth. There might be a question or two on the O-line, but, everybody's got a question or two coming in, and for a team that people are kind of, it's a first-year head coach. He's never been a college coach, but he's been the associate head coach now, or was for the past 2 or 3 years prior to taking this job, he's had a full-blown offseason. I mean, I think they're really being undersold, and I think they're loving that they're being undersold. As Joey McGuire will kind of wink, wink, nod, nod a little bit later, you'll see him answer that question. So I think Tech's going to be good. I think they'll be middle of the pack, but I definitely would expect a bowl game, and anything less than that to me would be a surprise.
Well, we are excited about our opening guest here today on this show on 365 Sports. Dillon Gabriel, quarterback, Oklahoma, joins us on the show this afternoon. It's been a long day, I know, but
long day.
Yeah, you will sleep well tonight, but it's fun to be here, and a lot of people intrigued by you and your story and the new things at OU. Has that kind of been the theme today?
For sure. I got this a little earlier, being the new face on the block. There's just a lot of questions, but that's all good. I'm here to answer them, and super excited that I've been able to get here. So.
You did see some old faces, though. We saw the UCF guys. We've gotten to be buddies with them a little bit.
Yep.
We had got the pamphlets and everything like that.
Yep.
I saw them run into you. Was that kind of cool just to see them checking out the Big 12 and what that's going to look like for UCF?
For sure. And, I've obviously being there for 3 years, just have had a lot of relationships and friendships that I still, keep in contact with and connected to, and, know those guys really well. So it was great being able to connect and see them again.
What does the history, the pedigree, the legacy of Oklahoma quarterbacks mean to you?
For me, man, this is something you dream of, right? Like I was saying, earlier, like just being in the backyard and throwing with my dad and, always, just messing around and being like, man, this is a game winner. Or, it's a 2-minute drive to go win the game, and being in a hostile environment, being in, big atmospheres. That's what you dream of, and it's what I'm excited for. I see it as an opportunity to go, showcase my abilities, but do it with a bunch of great dudes and, led by a coach that, I'd run through a brick wall for.
Did you ever imagine this type of a scenario just ending up in Oklahoma? I mean, was that even ever a thought in your mind before college football kind of flipped on its head a little bit?
It's crazy. It never was, right? But I think God, works in mysterious ways and, has put me right where I need to be. And, through that whole process, I think, I just learned how to be patient, and just know that I got no control. God's got all the control and has this path for me that, I'll just follow. And, knowing that, I feel really confident. Like I said, I know where I'm supposed to be.
What about one system compared to the other? And it may not be system, offensive game plan, whatever anyone does. How much of a difference is there for you?
I mean, for Coach Levy, I think it's evolved, right? Like from when I was at UCF to now, in 3 years we both evolved and have grown. And just being able to see that on his side, being able to see, from UCF to Ole Miss to here, just the mixture and kind of touch he's put on his own style of, football. I mean, it's been really cool to see and really neat. And, kind of just found all the answers we were looking for, back then and now. And like I said, it's super cool to see.
What were your thoughts on Big 12 football? Or what thoughts did you have just as a college football fan, player, what have you, before, joining the league?
Just think this conference has a lot to offer. And, playing this conference, playing against a bunch of great teams, that's why we line it up and go play the game, to be in great atmospheres that each and every fan base, has, and being able to play the game, man, and find out who's the winner, who's the loser. That's why we play it. We don't play for preseason, rankings or any of that. Let's go play the game, and that's the beauty in it all.
We were just talking before you got over here. He's talking about just the preseason's been very long. I mean, it's been a long time. A lot of talk about who did this or who did what or who's. Are you ready to just kind of play football right now?
For sure, and that's why you train and that's why you grind and not, obviously to see results, but for those times of training to translate to the field. And that's what I'm most excited for, because I know a lot of guys have, really took it and just ran with it, in the spring and the summer, and have really been sponges to just learn, everything in the new offenses, new defense, whatever. And that's what I'm most excited to see.
You played at UCF. They're about to join this conference. Craig brought that up. Was there any doubt you guys could compete when you were there? if given the chance, not just a bowl game or maybe one game, but compete week in and week out in a Power 5 autonomy conference?
Never a doubt. I mean, you look at Cincinnati, and they're in the Final Four, right? And that's a group of 5. So I think, like I said, this is why we play the football game, and that's why I love when there's all these teams and hypotheticals, whatever. Like, man, let's line it up. Let's strap it on and play for 60 minutes, see who comes out as a winner. And that's why, you look at basketball, you look at baseball does it, you look at softball does it. There's brackets you got to go through to be crowned a champion, and that's the cool part about it.
What's this experience been like? We were talking to your old friends earlier, and they're like, this, they're looking forward to this whole setup, starting next year. But what's it been like to kind of go through this car wash, as some people call it?
Super cool. First time ever media day. I think freshman year, obviously a freshman, didn't know who the starter was going to be my freshman year. But COVID happened. Nobody wanted to do it after COVID again. But, this is the final year we're kind of like back or whatsoever. So great experience. Meeting a lot of great people, and like I said, I love college football because everyone's so passionate about, their team.
Was there ever a question this is the sport you were going to play when you were 5,
For
9?
sure. No, yeah, I loved baseball. Was a pitcher. Was the game I thought I was going to go do it, but just wasn't end up being it. Loved football. Always loved football, but I think, in the 7th to 8th grade range, I really knew this is what I wanted to do.
Who put the ball in your hands? Who was who got that spark started for you?
It was me. My dad played football at University of Hawaii and did what he did, but I think he wanted me to, want it for myself, wanted to play the game, and didn't want to force it on, any one of us, me or my 2 brothers. So I think me wanting to play football, me wanting to play all the sports, he was, of course, excited about it. And I've always wanted to be like my dad, so, yeah.
There you are.
Yep.
I asked you about the legacy, the lineage, the history, tradition of quarterbacks at Oklahoma. What's it like, that logo? What does that mean to you? And in such a short amount of time.
In such a short amount of time, yeah.
That Jordan logo especially, that thing just pops. And not everybody's got that, A lot of people got the Nike swoosh, but not a lot of people got the Jordan.
I'll say this. The OU logo, to me, means family. And I say that because in this short amount of time, I felt like I've been able to gain new relationships and also rekindle some, right, with Coach Levy. But it's just family. I look at Coach Levy, and I know I'm going to war with family and preparing with family, and just knowing that whenever there's family involved, you're going above and beyond for anyone.
So you got family and your real family, football ties, your I guess adopted family in so many ways of football. I mean, it's everywhere you look, right? Everywhere we look,
it's all I know, but it's also something I love. I'm obsessed with the game. I'm passionate about it, and I love the process. I think that's what really has gotten me, this far, is just loving the process, loving the preparation, week to week, and then loving finding ways to win. Seeing third down conversions, touchdowns. I mean, that's what gets me excited. That's what wakes me up every morning. So for me, this is all I know.
You had to miss some football.
Yep.
What was it like to not have it?
It was hard. I think it was the first time I really had to do that. And, you go through a whole January to July or August, training and grinding. You feel so confident going into the season, which I did. Just freak things happen, last play of the game. I mean, gosh, just things happen in life, right? But I think God, like I said, I go back to this, works in mysterious ways, and I wouldn't want it any other way. I'm here now, and I'm blessed to be here. I'm grateful to be here, but I've learned so many lessons from that, and how to better take care of my body, how to change my mentality, how to hit a level I never thought I could reach. So all that involved, I think I just looked at it as a lesson that needed to be learned, that God put in my life, and, I'm just super grateful for it.
When's the first time you met Coach Venables?
The day I committed.
The day you committed.
In Hawaii, he had Zoom called me with Coach Levy at 3 a.m. just because
time change, yeah.
Time change, but also school started for UCLA at like 10:30, which is 8:30 Hawaii time or 7:30, and then obviously 12:30 Central Time. So all this was going down, and I'm like, you know, I got to talk to Coach. But, you know, that instant connection, obviously the relationship with Coach Levy, you know, he called me, you know, right after that call, and he goes, Boomer Sooner. And then we're here 8 hours later, and, you know, sent the graphic out. I was committed.
Did you feel that sense you had made the right decision when you made the decision? Because it was tough, and you had already, you know, UCLA and UC. You could sometimes, you know, when you make a decision, you don't have any regrets.
It was really just a sigh of relief. I felt home. I felt ready to go. I felt very confident in it. But most importantly, the transfer process is a tough one. You know, anyone who goes through it, give them a lot of respect, because, you know, these are guys who are just trying to do best for them and their family, you know, when they go through the transfer process. And it's not easy because, you know, you weigh out a lot of things. But just going through that process, like I said, I learned so much, changed my perspective on a lot of things, and, you know, really made me realize, like, just go all in.
We, as media or people watching this, I mean, some of us might have a better idea than others of kind of like the college athlete life, but I think there's a lot of unknowns of what you guys go through. And we might just see transfer portal, NIL, you know, all the big topics, and it's like, oh, well, they're coddled or they're this or, you know, whatever.
And everyone's opinionated. Because they can, you know what I mean? And that's why I always try to see their perspective, because we'd be wrong to say we don't see the fan or the, you know, the media side of things, because shoot, you guys are in this as well with us. You know, you got a job to do. We have a job to do. We're also passionate about our fan bases. So I understand that, and I understood why people would be mad. You know, I understood why people would have mixed emotions. But I think we all need to realize, you know, just like any other job, you know, like people leave a job because it's a better opportunity, or just an opportunity that can change their family's, you know, circumstances. So I always try to look at it like that. I always try to see other people's perspectives, because I get it. I understand it.
If we all just, like, did that, I mean, can you imagine how great the world would be instead of what we do, man? But having said all that, I mean, I know the Oklahoma fan base. My cousin lives up in Norman. She went there. Her husband went there. My mom's from Oklahoma. Yep. You talked about, you know, just kind of the reaction of that, but that's a massive fan base. I mean, how quickly did that hit you of just how big Sooner Nation is, and how much they love their Sooners, and how gung-ho they are?
It was huge just seeing how, you know, social media reacted in the beginning and all that. But I think the spring game is what really, you know, showed me, like, this is the spot, you know. The spring game was the biggest crowd I ever played in front of.
Yeah.
You know.
Set a record, right? It was like the record this year
exactly.
or whatever.
Yeah. And that's in my whole college time. So that's exciting. You know, just – and that's what I love about the Big 12, or just teams in this conference. Bunch of passionate fan bases. Playing football is what it's all about. Go strap it up. Go play for 60 minutes. You
can't
know
wait.
I mean?
Yeah, can't wait to get to that point, right? Let's
go.
Exactly.
But that's what I'm saying. It's such a fun time. Like, as much as the fans have fun, the coaches love it. You know, that's why they do it. The team loves it. Like, this is what it's all about. So that's why, like I said, we all understand it. We want to get to that point. We want to strap it up.
Good luck, man. Good to meet you.
Good to meet you guys.
Good to meet you.
Thank you so
I've read
much.
about you, you know, good to meet you here, and good luck this year, and thanks for coming over.
Thank you so much.
Dillon Gabriel, Oklahoma quarterback, with us, Sikkim 365 Radio and 365 Sports. Back with Texas running back Bijan Robinson on Sikkim 365 Radio.
At Allen Samuels in Waco, the new 2022 Impressive Wagoneer Series 2 and 3 have 2.9% for 72 months, plus $4,500 competitive bonus cash going on now. That's right, and $4,500 bonus cash. This incentive on the new 2022 Wagoneers for a limited time only at Allen Samuels in Waco. First responders get $500 extra cash. Come shop the new car and truck inventory today at Allen Samuels Waco.
Come by, let's be friends.
Don's Humidor, your home with a 48-foot walk-in humidor with the elite cigar brands from around the world, including the #1 cigar of the year, Aging Room Cuatro Nicaragua. Plus, they have the great brands like Macanudo and Artur Fuente, Rocky Patel, Aston, and so much more. CBD, great for sore muscles, aches and pains, sleep, Vita Dreams, and anxiety, mild depression, general health and wellness. Their staff very knowledgeable on the subject. If anyone is curious about CBD, ask Carol and Ashley. Don Shumanor in the Townwood Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco. All right, we're back at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Big 12 Media Days, where the season, again, as we always mention, wraps up here in early December. And now, Bijan Robinson, University of Texas running back and Heisman Trophy candidate, All-American candidate. But I said this to you last year when you were on the breakout sessions at the podium. I just stood off to the side. No phone recording, nothing. Impressed with kind of who you are and what you represent.
Man, yeah, man. Well, first of all, thank you for having me on the show. It's a blessing to be here. But yeah, I appreciate you, man. I feel it's good to be a good person, outside the football field than it is to be on, when you're on the football field. So, it's just cool to be a part of this again and to be here with you guys.
Is it difficult to sometimes make sure you stay who you are when you get so much attention?
No, I don't think it is. When you've been raised, the right way. My family and everything raising me, just teaching me a lot of different things about life and whenever things go, at a high, you always just got to be the same person, even when it's a low. Be the same person. So it's just good to have them and have my family and everybody to be a part.
I don't know if the camera caught or not. You and Dillon Gabriel, he was just getting up from the interview.
Yeah.
Is that the first time you two met?
Yeah, that's first time.
Okay.
First time we met. Yeah.
Very cool. What's it like, just the experience? Because I don't think you were here last year, were you?
Yeah, I was here last year.
You were? Okay. My fault.
Yeah, he was on the podium, yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
No, you're good, yeah.
But what's it like, just being back, media days, and kind of that feeling of the season's almost here? Because that's kind of how it feels for us. Just this is kind of the sign, right, that we're almost there.
Man, it's awesome just being here again, seeing all the different teams. And, you when you see all the different teams, you just have that, just want to play them and want to get out there and just play against them. But it's really fun that I have, my teammates here. We've been laughing the whole time, joking around the whole time, just enjoying each other, while we're here at the media day. So, getting to talk to you guys and to give you guys an outlook on what we've been doing in the offseason, it's pretty fun to be a part of.
Coach Sarkisian said towards the end of last year there would be a huge turnover, and there was with incoming freshmen and transfers and whatever else. Has that brought a breath of fresh air, and has it been something that you feel like is a good thing?
Oh, it's a great thing. Obviously, we had the season that we did last year. And Coach Sark just told us, at the end of the season, he was like, man, we're going to change the culture of this team. And that's what he did. He went out, got the recruiting class that he got. We got a lot of great additions to the team in the transfer portal. So, he was very serious on what he was trying to do. And he's a serious guy. And when he says something, he's trying to go out there and do it and go after it. So having him, it's a huge plus. And, he's taught me a lot. He's taught this whole team a lot, with him being, the offensive mind, that he is. I'm learning so much from him every single day. So it's just fun to have him be a part.
Kind of playing into the last couple questions, he was commenting. He had he was cracking a smile up on the stage because he was talking about just seeing his guys, not on their phones, but hanging out and talking and cracking jokes and laughing. Does that play into the culture and kind of that meshing that you guys perhaps were missing at another point in time?
Yeah, absolutely, man. From last year to this year, it's like day and night. This year we just been enjoying each other more, been doing activities with each other. And, yesterday we were just at, one of the great donors here at Texas. We were at his house as a whole team, and we were just all enjoying each other's presence and enjoying each other's time, because I feel like that's most important, for a team when you start building that team chemistry. And then when the team chemistry is at the highest point it can be, that's when you start winning those championships and doing the things that you want to do, in the future.
Yeah, you hear that word culture, and at times we've heard that about Texas, and you wonder if it's like everybody's on the same page. How do you get off the same page?
I mean, it's very easy to get off the same page. When you play at a place like here, there's a lot of distractions that can follow with you. And, you don't want to, get caught in those distractions anymore. So we've realized that. And there's a point where you just got to get tired of, losing games and not being, at the standard of where you want to be at. So we've realized that. And, we did all the necessary things to become closer as a team and be a player-led squad, because I feel that's what gets you over the hump, when you need it the most.
You've basically been in national headlines since you were like 16, 17 years old.
Yes,
I mean, and you're not that much older now, but what keeps you grounded? What's kind of driven you? What's kept you level-headed and kept you from being like maybe some other guys who don't end up, as well-rounded because of that?
Yeah, so definitely my faith, man. I trust in God, with all my might, and I know that, I play for him and I do everything for him. So as I'm in the spotlight, that's when my faith just grows even more because, he's blessed me to play this game and he's blessed me to have a lot of different opportunities. But, playing for God has always been, why I've been who I am and why I've been such a level-headed, guy throughout this whole process. And I feel that when I trust in him as much as I do, everything else takes care of itself. So that's mostly the main reason why I am.
Dillon Gabriel had to miss games last year, and then you had to miss some too. What did you learn about missing games? What did you learn about your love of football?
Yeah, I mean, it grown so much more because I got to be a team leader. I got to do some things that I haven't been used to doing before. I got to use my voice, be vocal. Because I know everything happens for a reason, and I needed that to happen because with me, I'm just a guy that just wants to lead by example and is a quiet guy, on the field. But when I got injured, I saw everything in a different perspective, and in a brighter mind of me just wanting to help the team, with my voice and share my knowledge that I have with them, so we can be a great team. So that was a huge learning lesson for me, and I'm glad. I'm not glad that I got injured, obviously, but I'm just glad that an experience like that happened because it taught me so much about not just myself but the whole team.
What's been the most popular question you've received at media days?
There's been a lot. Obviously, the 5 and 7 question, that came up in pretty much most interviews. What else? Like what I see the team, from last year to this year, the difference I've seen from last year to this year, that's another one. And then, the quarterback battle, that's another one. And then just all the new additions that we've got on this team. That's been another question.
It's a roundabout way to ask, but what's something that maybe people don't talk about enough or don't ask enough about that you would appreciate as a player or that would be insightful in your mind as a player?
I'm not sure. There's a lot of questions that people ask. Maybe about like what we do as a team, and how we build that chemistry with each other, and how we eliminate distractions. Those are some cool questions that can be asked, but I mean, I know everybody has their set deals that they decide to ask.
There's so much, the history of Texas, but it's been a long stretch where they have not reached the expectations.
Yes,
and then you hear about if they win a big game, you win a big game, then it's like immediately they're
back.
I'm sure. I don't like it either. I'm sure you don't.
Yep.
Can you feel the thirst for success among everybody, not just the fan base?
Yeah, it's amongst everybody. Now it's like man, like when's enough? And it's been a long time since they've been on that stage of winning games, winning championships, making it to the championship. So now we know that we have the talent on this team, and now we know that we have everything, all the tools that we have, all the tools that we need to be a great team, be a successful team. So now we just got to go out there and just do it because you can talk as much as you want, but if you're not producing on the field, then it doesn't mean anything. So we understand that our actions and our play are the most important thing that we need to focus on right now.
It'd be dangerous if you guys didn't know what the missing piece was, but you do know. You do have the talent. You talked about the team building maybe is not something that's asked about. But you talked about the pool party and Sark's comments. But what was maybe one of the most important team building things you feel happened this offseason?
Well, we've been doing these Culture Wednesdays where we all come together as a team and we get in groups and we talk amongst each other about just our life, how we're doing in life, so we can get to know each other and know one another, and it can show us that we're playing for one another, not just playing for ourselves. Like we're playing for each other and playing. When we see the worst thing that happened in your life, like then we can register that and be like, man, like I'm playing for what happened to you, like so many different things like that, and then. Every Tuesday and Thursday after we do our practice sessions, we all get in the huddle and we just pray. Either I'll pray or one of the other players will pray, and then we'll leave. But doing that, it shows a focus in this team that's been different.
Earl Campbell, Ricky Williams, Cedric Benson. Yep. You could go on and on and on. Priest Holmes, man, that's a bunch. I mean, it's almost like Bijan Robinson. It's a big standard, right? A high standard for running backs.
Yes, sir.
You feel that?
Oh, I do. I feel it every day. We come out there to compete every day to be the best that we can be. But it helps, having those guys and ahead of you that's done it before. Even Jamal Charles.
Yeah, I was going to mention him. How do I forget Jamal Charles?
A whole bunch of names.
Yeah, there's a lot of great backs that came through here. you have that expectation and you want to, be great just like them or even better than them. So having them here, it's a great deal for me and all the other running backs that are here, today to see guys like that, set the path, for us.
When you committed to Texas and then signed and then arrived on campus, there's no way you could have visioned 3 or 4 years, whatever it is, without walking away with some sort of trophy, right? I'm talking individual but most importantly, a team trophy. That clock's ticking.
Yeah, man. That's why we're putting all the cards on the table this year because we know what we're capable of. And, I know that there's a plan set for everything and there's experience that happened to you for everything, but I know that we've been, grinding and working hard and focusing on this team and what we need to do to become, the best team that we can be to get the trophies and everything.
Yeah. What's your favorite thing to do outside of football?
Oh, man, I like to do a lot of things. I want to be an actor when I'm done with football. So I watch a lot of movies. I do a lot of things, in that aspect. I love to go to the lake out there. The lake is amazing, especially now because it's so hot out here. So the lake has been great, for me. So that's one thing that I've been doing a lot of.
You got the Arizona heat that you came from, right, versus the Texas heat.
Yeah.
Can you describe the difference?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like wearing a jacket here, right? Like a hot jacket.
Well, yes.
Yeah. But
in Arizona, they have the dry heat, so it's like you're just like cooking out there.
Yeah.
And then here a little more humidity, but both heats suck. Like I don't care what anybody says. Like the heat in Arizona is just as bad as the heat here.
That's like an oven heat, and this is like a smoker.
Broiler.
It's like a boiler.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's just in a hot pool. Like it just sucks.
You get a lot of attention because of who you are, but also because of the way things have changed in college football. And the picture with you in the pretty nice looking car, by the way.
Man, thank you. I appreciate it.
I figured that would be the most asked question today when I asked you that.
That's one of them. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Is that such a nice car you almost don't want to drive it?
Yeah, man. That's a flashy car right there. So I'll take it out on like weekends and stuff, and I drive the truck, on the weekdays because that's a car that gets a lot of attention when you're driving out on the streets. People are watching you drive it, and they can see it's you in the car. So, and I sometimes that unwanted attention, I kind of just blank it out. But it's been a blessing, man. It's been fun, to have a deal like that and to kind of share it with everybody, not just myself.
How life-changing do you think that's been for players across the country? So many different guys from so many different backgrounds and towns and what have you, and people may focus on oh my gosh, they're getting paid, whatever.
Yeah.
But life-changing for a lot of people, right?
It is. I feel that it's been a long time coming when we get to get paid in college football and get certain deals and everything because we do work hard out here every single day, and I feel like we deserve some type of anything that we can get when it comes to deals, sponsorships, money for ourselves in our pockets, all of it, because I feel that we and it's good for us to learn the business now and to get acclimated now before we all get to a higher level in the NFL. So
and I saw a stat, and I wish I had it on me now that we're talking about this, but it was something like 96% of college football players don't go on to play in the NFL. I mean, it was something like that, and you think about, okay, so that's 96% of the guys who are playing college football aren't going to get paid for playing football.
That's crazy.
Until now, basically. And some of them still won't, but you get the picture.
Yeah. Hey, good luck, man. Appreciate you
thank you. I
so
appreciate
much.
you guys.
Good luck. Bijan Robinson, University of Texas running back. Ryan, thank you very much for bringing him over here as well. We'll come back. Iowa State football coach Matt Campbell, Max Olson, theathletic.com, and more on 365 Sports in Arlington.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
It's plain and simple. Waco Custom Marketplace is the one-stop shop for what you need for tailgating, from charcoal, cold beer, and wine. And, of course, customize your order with brisket, tri-tip, sausage, wings, smoked pork tenderloin, country-style or pork spare ribs, marinated beef and chicken fajita meat, ground beef and chili, meat, hot dogs, and burgers, buns, seasoning, sauces, chips. There's fresh baked bread and kolaches every day, breakfast sausage links, and you can also customize your favorite cut of steaks from select, choice, or prime, bacon wrap fillets, ribeyes, New York strip, sirloin, T-bone, and porterhouse. Full service butcher shop includes pork, poultry, beef, chicken, and seafood, serving Waco restaurants and families since 1940. Your one-stop shop for beef, pork, poultry, and seafood needs. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Erie Drive, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine, Lakeshore Drive, North 19th Street, right behind the bank, is a hidden gem in Waco. If you're a fan of bourbon, especially local Texas bourbons, that's where you gotta go. Balcones, TX, Devil's River, whatever it is, they've got it. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, plus the best selection of craft beers in Waco, seasonally churned out throughout the year, whether it's spring, summer, fall, or winter. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, best selection of craft beers, a speedy drive-through window, and excellent customer service. Find out more on Instagram or just go by and see them. Lakeshore Drive at North 19th Street behind the bank.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel and Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel and Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel and Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneersboys.com.
Stepping into a new pair of boots is great, but stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can also add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. There are more than 150 occupational specialties to help them find the best fit for their future. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio. Have you subscribed to our YouTube channel? Search 365 Sports on YouTube.
Appreciate everybody. Those are sponsors, Three Nations Brewing, title sponsor of our coverage here at AT&T Stadium, and everyone else along the way, the chat room, and also as well the text line. And those of you, we ran into Rex last night. Craig and I had dinner at Saltgrass on Lamar Boulevard near our hotel around the corner off 30. And we get up and we're walking out, and there's a guy behind us. He goes, "Hey, I listen to you guys every day or whenever." I was like, 365, you guys for 365 Sports. Thank you, Rex. It was great to meet you last night as well. All right, Dillon Gabriel and also Bijan Robinson. And then there's Iowa State. A year ago at this time, they were the right behind Oklahoma, the pick to win the Big 12. It didn't go so well. We had a chance to visit with Iowa State head coach Matt Campbell. We're now joined by Iowa State head football coach Matt Campbell, Big 12 Media Days. And is there a time during the summer when it is all go, the green light? Dave Aranda mentioned the baseball all-star break when he was an assistant coach, but now as a head coach, it's 365 days a year.
Yeah. It certainly feels like 365 days a year as the head coach. You know, we really kind of say after the 4th of July, you know, it's kind of a, you know, you're kind of sprinting towards fall camp. And I think, you know, even as assistant coaches and when the recruiting model today, you know, you feel like, you know, there's so much to get done before August hits, because once it does, you know, there's no looking back at that point.
Buckle up.
How many questions do you say on average are about football, and how many are about the things outside of football these days?
Boy, you know, I think that's a little bit one thing I would say I feel very fortunate about being in Ames, Iowa. You know, we kind of can control what we can control and really don't have to worry about the chaos that's kind of outside of us, and that's a nice thing. You know, I think you can get consumed by the things that you can't control a lot, and certainly what's going on in the college landscape are things that I think are certainly out of football coaches control. Our biggest control can be how do we do a great job continuing to build programs.
You have to be, as you get older through the coaching, you're more experienced at all that. But what right now is the biggest difference with you as a head coach over the years?
Yeah, I do think understanding managing your time. How do you do a great job as, I'm a father of 4 children. I think that's, what is important, where do you need to be, how do you manage your time, how do you continue to do your job in a very chaotic, stressful, and competitive environment, and yet still have the understanding and build in the time that your number one job is still to be a husband and a father at home. And I think we all probably live that in our own world of profession and business, but I think that's one thing that at least for me, I feel like I've grown, immensely, and probably still have areas to grow as you continue to move and navigate through your job and trying to be successful both as a coach and certainly as a father and a husband.
I was asking David Brennan, he's somebody that absorbs a lot of football, obviously. He's always talking about the X's and O's and all that. And I was asking him just kind of what he absorbed during the offseason. He was mentioning, this NFL defense or this type of front. Was there anything in particular for you this offseason that you kind of studied or focused in on?
Yeah, I think the nice thing for us is this is going on our 7th year at Iowa State. And I think we got to take a really holistic approach at, we've kind of done that. We've done that every year, and we still pull bits and pieces of NFL teams and obviously college teams, both really in all 3 phases of, what are the trends and what's going well. But this offseason, we kind of got a chance to a little bit of reflect on our own selves. We do have a new quarterback coming in. It's a time where, let's sit back, let's understand what we've done well, areas we need to continue to do well from a schematic standpoint, but then also, we get this opportunity to almost be new, and how do you build it, with this quarterback, and how do you build it with some of these new areas that are coming, and some of that we'll know probably as we get through fall camp. We're also not the staff or the coaches that say, we're going to have to make this fit. We want to do a great job of fitting whatever we do to the talent and the players around us. And so I think this was a great time for us to do a lot of self-reflection for ourselves.
If the program is stable, yes, the wins and loss record and all that, but isn't that also, no matter who leaves, it's next man up in the depth of what you have? Yes, you have to recruit. There's the transfer portal. But is that one of the signs of stability, that no matter who's gone, you keep on winning?
Yeah, I think we've lost that perspective a little bit in college football. We've lost, there's so much turnover that's happening. And, I think one of the things that I've always admired is people that can build programs and sustain success. I think that's something that, we've had to do. I feel like we've answered the question of losing good players in our own program 3 years ago. You lost Joel Lanning, Alan Lazard, David Montgomery, some pillars of Iowa State football being good for the first time. And then you had the next phase of guys, and now you're into that next cycle. And so, you love that challenge, but isn't that what our job is? Shouldn't we be building for the future as well as we're building for the present? And I think that is your responsibility as the head football coach, is one eye on what's going on in front of you, but also one eye on building it for the future as well.
You had a star-studded cast last year. You mentioned kind of that was another wave of teams that you've had. Xavier Hutchinson's receiving a lot of preseason praise, but who is somebody, I know you don't want to single people out, but who are maybe 1 or 2 guys, or however many you want to name, that you feel maybe don't get spotlight but are deserving because of the work that they put in and what you've seen from them?
Yeah, I think we got a lot of those guys. I think that's the thing that's got you, at least from my end and our staff's end, very confident and excited about, what's to come. You look on the offense, and you're right, it's great to have a guy like Xavier Hutchinson, a guy that led the Big 12 in receptions, certainly a really talented receiver, but, around him was a true freshman that really took the starting job a year ago, and Jalen Noel at the other receiver spot, who's a really talented player, and we think's got a chance to maybe be one of the best receivers in our program history. You've got an offensive line that, had some injuries a year ago, and now is back intact for the first time, and kind of led by maybe the most talented lineman that we've had since we've been there, in Trevor Downing in our program. And then, you look at the running back room, when you have a guy like Breece Hall, it's hard to talk highly of anybody else because that guy's getting the ball all the time, as he should. But, you've got some really talented guys that are kind of waiting in the wings, and Jirel Brock had some big games at the end of the season for us and kind of patiently has waited his turn, which is hard to find in college football today, especially at that position. And then you got some really talented young guys. That's going to be a great race. And then you flip on the defensive side, you're like, man, you got a guy like Will McDonald who has got a chance to be a really special player, has been a really special player, probably could have left and been a high-round draft pick a year ago and decided to come back to school. And Orion Vance on the second level, who's been a 4-year starter at Mike linebacker and kind of been a kingpin to our success. And then, you look in the secondary and a guy like Anthony Johnson, again, a 4-year starter, and a guy that's been an all-conference player. And so you got building blocks, and I think that's the thing that I love as a coach is, you're going to lose really good players every year. You hope you have great players, and you hope you're developing, and you're hoping they're ready to go on and do great things like our guys were able to do a year ago. Now, what's that next wave? And I think a little bit of that excites you as a coach because it's like, man, that's coaching, developing, building, and helping young guys reach their full potential.
It almost seems like when those coaching, the reasons you got into it, those kind of things, when those pop up, it's almost rare, it sounds like sometimes nowadays.
Boy, it certainly sounds like it, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
But you sense the excitement in your voice when that natural, genuine part of it comes out. Yeah.
Well, and man, you recruited these kids and you sold, man, I'm going to be a part of your life, and really isn't part of coaching and the journey. Man, you hope it's not just a 4 to 5 year experience. If done correctly, it should be a lifetime. And, I think that's one of the things that we're getting those experiences now. We're finally in the stage of our program where you got, man, Alan Lazard's back training in your program all off season. Brees Hall's back training in your program all off season. Now you got a real program. Guys like that want to make Ames, Iowa, which maybe isn't a destination place for everybody, but at least in the off season, man, that's where they want to come back and be, and they feel at home there. I mean, I think as a coach, that makes you proud. We've got 4 former players that are now on our staff, either part-time or full-time on our staff, and it's becoming what you envision, trying to build a program the right way.
We hear a lot about different conferences are stronger than other conferences or the blue bloods or whatever, but can you still try to explain every year in the Big 12, everybody plays everybody, and there is no you skip a team or two. How difficult is that?
Boy, I think that's the thing that makes this conference, and has at least made this conference since I've been in it, really, really special. I mean, I think top to bottom, you would say this conference is as strong as you're going to find. You better play your A game, especially, for 90% of the schools in this conference. It's hard to play a B game and win football games in this conference. And so I think that's hard. I think it's really challenging. I think it certainly makes it a really entertaining and fun conference to watch, because any given Saturday anybody can really beat anybody, and yet at the end of the day it forces you as the coach to really try to prepare your team to be its best every Saturday. And it's easy to say it, but I think we know it with 18 to 22 year olds that's not always the case. So I think that's where you powerful why, player driven leadership, all those things continue to be really important, and certainly in the Big 12 it's really important.
We got a chance to talk to Brett Yormark. Everybody heard his press conference, and I think people are excited. There's an excitement of just something new, with all due respect to Bob Bowlesby. I know he talked to the coaches when he took the job. What were your impressions of getting to know Brett Yormark?
Yeah, obviously I think time will tell,
right.
But boy, I think you lose what, I think now you certainly see what Bob did in terms of even just getting those 4 teams a year ago to come in, maybe is as brilliant a move for the future of the Big 12 today as any move that maybe he made, and certainly the powers to be. And you're excited about a guy like Brett, who's also got not just an educational background, but he's got a background in business and a background in marketing. And you look at the world we're in right now, and man, a lot of these decisions are being made based on business and marketing and in areas where are certainly strengths of his. So I think that part's exciting, and for a little while, with him and Bob working together for a little bit, you feel like you got the best of both worlds that give you the best opportunity to move forward in a landscape that's certainly unsettling at times.
Is there any kind of concern when you heard him or who he was, Brooklyn and Jay-Z and all that? We brought this up. Can he relate to Ames or Manhattan, Kansas, or Waco, Texas, or Lubbock, Texas? Is that not even on the table?
Yeah. Again, David, that's a great question. I don't even know if I probably have thought enough about it to give you an educated answer on it, other than, I think some of the strengths that are coming out of the hire, and certainly what, you've seen in his background, is he's a builder. And, when you build, there are certain traits that it takes to have success building anything. everything that I think are applicable to the process, and part of that's alignment, and aligning these schools, these presidents, obviously the egos that come in with all of it. That's going to be part of the job, and obviously he's been successful doing that. And if that's something he can do, I think in this landscape, it'll allow all of us to have great success.
What is your favorite thing to do outside of football?
Yeah, honestly, we've got 4 kids at home. Our oldest is a 14-year-old daughter that's going to be a freshman, all the way down to a 6th grade or a 6-year-old son who's going to be in 1st grade. So, along the way, there's 2 boys, 2 girls. So being a dad is really important to me. And as much as I love being at the office, still being home and being a part of their lives is really what I love to do the most.
Does the young one know whether daddy's won or not, a game, and does that change you when you get home?
Well, the young one's the most competitive, so he's going to probably tell me what I've done wrong most of the time. So, a couple of them don't really care. They just like going to eat the candy and have fun at the football office. But you know what? At the end of the day, I think COVID taught us a lot of this. I said even in my own world, I'm only 42. And in my profession, when do you ever get the opportunity that the world slows down for a little bit and you got to catch your breath? Usually it's when you get fired, right? And fortunate that didn't happen. But for me to be at home and really see, like, man, this is what's going on with these young kids. And it's like, man, my number one responsibility is, yes, I got to coach all these other kids, but my number one responsibility is I better not screw up what's at home. And I think it taught us some great lessons along the way, at least me as a football coach, that you're grateful for the time and you understand, man, you got to continue to make great time with your family and your kids.
One more thing. You have, of course, name has been attached. Coach Aranda last year, my God, every time an opening came up, and you've been through this, are you and him kind of a rare breed? And by the way, thank you. Doesn't mean we don't know, but it's because we see everybody chasing the money and chasing this, even what Realignment's about.
Right. Yeah, I don't know rare breed. I just know, and I don't know Coach Aranda a ton other than the respect that I have for the job he's already done at Baylor. But I know from my own personal standpoint, it's what do you stand for? At some point, you got to look yourself in the mirror and say, what's really important about what you're trying to do? Does it define a great coach of going to school A, B, or C, or does it define you as a great coach and being there for the kids, doing it the right way, trying to build a program that stands for what's right? At the time will tell, but you got to look yourself in the mirror at the end of the day and see what you get into this profession for. And for me, it was because I had great coaches that made a huge impact on my life. And, man, I'd love to be able to give that back to young people and give them something to be really proud of.
I do think it's interesting that in today's world, someone who's just happy where they are or pleased with what they're doing and the goal they have is the surprise or the shock. It's the person who goes and chases it that we kind of obsess over. I don't know if that's explaining it quite right, but you're just doing things how you want to do it, and it's almost viewed as like, well, why would he not do this or do that? It's just
refreshing.
It's backwards. It feels backwards.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. Like I said, it's kind of nice to be in Ames. We can kind of go coach football and care about kids and try to do it the right way.
Nick Jost is a good friend of ours from his time, in fact, at Baylor. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me on,
Matt
guys.
Campbell,
really
Iowa State football.
Cars priced right both day and night. At Richard Car in Texas. Trucks built for you, red, white, and blue. At Richard Car in Texas. Cars that zoom with lots of room. At Richard Car in Texas. Count on us, a dealer to trust. At Richard Car in Waco, Texas.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance, and there are no hidden costs. Even offering financing if that's needed, everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
It was broad daylight. I stepped into a gas station for 5 minutes to grab a snack, and just like that, my car was broken into. They made out like a bandit. My laptop, my phone, everything. I called my agent to see what could be done, and he restored my faith in humanity. My claim was processed so quickly, and I was able to recover my losses.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Automatic Chef Canteen is a full-service micro-market vending and office coffee provider with state-of-the-art vending equipment, a wide variety of products, and offering custom-fitted micro-market vending office coffee solutions for your employee break room. You want a full break room solution and a workplace oasis? Well, Automatic Chef Canteen, locally owned and operated for over 50 years in Central Texas, also includes in-house mechanics on call 24/7 for fast, reliable service and maintenance. Automatic Chef Canteen, 6900 Imperial Drive in Waco, or online at automaticchefcanteen.com.
Did you know that Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness is a partner of the city of Waco? Did you know that we are open to the public? Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness offers day passes to the public for only $10 a day, and we offer money-saving memberships. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness offers over 40 group exercise classes each week, including bar, yoga, boot camp, indoor cycling, and more. There are free weights, weight machines, TRX, rowing machines, stationary bikes, new treadmills, elliptical machines, and much more on the spacious weight room floor. Personal training available where you can be encouraged to grow. Sauna, whirlpool, tanning bed, and kids club. 17 tennis courts, 8 pickleball courts, youth and adult tennis and pickleball lessons. Waco's premier experience where you can help your mind, body, and soul. Visit our website at wacotennis.com. Call us at 254-753-7675 or visit us next to Hawaiian Falls on Lakeshore Drive in Waco.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
Trying to catch the Sooner defense flat-footed. And pushing the pile in for a touchdown. Warren gives Oklahoma State the lead back.
Sikkim 365 Radio's live coverage from Big 12 Media Day at AT&T Stadium in Arlington is brought to you by Three Nations Brewing Company. Respect tradition. We make great beer with new innovative brewing techniques on Vandergrift Drive off I-35 in Carrollton. Now here's David Smoak and Craig Smoak.
Paxton, a big Texas fan. Can you get Bijan to say hook 'em, Paxton, please? Paxton, I love your passion. And I tell you what, opening up with Oklahoma and Texas, 2 huge storylines to what happens in the Big 12. And yes, the other storylines, we just had Iowa State's Matt Campbell, and we've gone through everybody. Every team that was here today, we will hear from either a coach or a player, including in a moment Trevius, Hodges-Tomlinson, the All-American candidate cornerback from TCU.
And you're right. It's Oklahoma and Texas. I know there's that OU and UT sentiment out there for a lot of Big 12 fan bases, but I looked at that more as interviewing Dillon, Gabriel, and Bijan Robinson. And those were 2 good people, and those were 2 class acts and class young men and great football players who, fun to talk to them. But again, I can't wait. Think about the expectations for Bijan this year, even though there are question marks about UT's very young O-line. But there's going to be all eyes on him in Austin, and with Dillon Gabriel in Oklahoma, that's going to be a massive piece of what they're able to do, this season on their way to whatever level of success that's going to be. The connection that he has with Jeff Lebby, running that old I guess, at this point, I think Lebby's got enough of his own fingerprints. It's not necessarily the Bryles offense, anymore, but still, I'm looking forward to seeing those two play. And, I look at it more as just interviewing two really great players and two really great young men from my limited experience. So thanks to both those guys for dropping by.
Steve, the Frog fan, thanks for your text to 254-339-1122 on your comments of our coverage as well from here at AT&T Stadium in Arlington. Brian was just telling me Max Olson will not be able to come over here and be a part of the show today. Thought that was an automatic. We had spoken, so I guess that's okay. We have plenty to get to. So, of these four quarterbacks, the incoming transfers, the ones who are getting most of the attention, J.T. Daniels, West Virginia, Dillon Gabriel, who we just heard from and saw, Quinn Ewers, Texas, and also Adrian Martinez, Kansas State. Of those four, who will have the largest or biggest impact on their program? Chat room, fire away.
Yeah, let the chat room fire away on that. I need to think about that a little bit.
I'll read the text line, 254-339-1122.
Was it J.T. Daniels, Dillon Gabriel, Quinn Ewers, and who?
Adrian Martinez.
Adrian Martinez.
And I had a chance to we just heard from Dillon. I had a chance to visit with Adrian Martinez for just a little bit yesterday off to the side.
I think Oklahoma's had pretty stellar quarterback play for the most part. And with the Levy offense, I mean, I think, he's going to be really good in that, and they should be pretty good offensively. But I don't think that would be the biggest impact because I don't think they're going from as little as some of the others are going to where they could go potentially. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Like he's got a shorter length to jump. I think J.T. Daniels at West Virginia, if they had better quarterback play last year, they might have been playing for a Big 12 title. He wasn't as bad as it probably sounds. Like I feel so bad every time I talk about Jared Dagey, and his time, especially last year, because I always feel like every time his name comes out of my mouth, it's something super negative, and I don't mean it to be that way. I really don't. But I mean, let's face it. I'm also not going to lie to spare feelings. He was a big part of their successes, but he's also a big part of their headaches. And I think with J.T. Daniels, if he turns out to be that guy that so many Mountaineers fans and other people across the country at various times over the last few years have thought that he could be, I mean, that would be a big, big boost for the Mountaineers. That would be huge for them. Quinn Ewers at Texas, that could be huge too, but is it as big of a jump as what J.T. Daniels could do with West Virginia? It could be, but I still think that, if J.T. Daniels were to improve them by 3 wins, I think that's more impressive than Quinn Ewers impressive in moving Texas 3 more wins, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. The chat room, this is where we got a segment here. Among those 4, Daniels at West Virginia, Martinez at Kansas State, Ewers at Texas, and also Dillon Gabriel at Oklahoma. Who of those 4, in your opinion, and give us a note or two why, will have the biggest impact on each team this coming season? These are among the 4 biggest names transferring in that are competing for a job and most likely start this season.
Yeah, and then K-State's definitely had their share of quarterback issues, not necessarily because of play, but just injuries and things like that have wreaked havoc. So I definitely think that Martinez could be a huge boost, but I'm also very leery because of some of the downside I've seen, which we've addressed and which everybody's addressed at this point. Super talented, but just those mistakes that are killer sometimes. So I'll go with J.T. Daniels and what he could potentially do for West Virginia. Martinez and K-State second. And then I think I'll go Ewers third and then Gabriel fourth. And that's not a slight. I just think Oklahoma's had such stellar quarterback play and such stellar offense for going on years now that it's not going to be so dramatic that it's like, oh, my gosh, I can't believe that's the Oklahoma offense that's out there. You got any thoughts, Garrett?
I think for me, I'm probably going to go with Martinez. I feel like when he goes into that system, he's like the ideal K-State quarterback, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like you put him with a running back like Deuce Vaughn, and I think you're going to see a lot of option packages. I could be totally wrong, but I feel like you could see a lot of great option packages with that duo and behind that offensive line. If he can take care of the ball and not, have those dramatic turnovers, I think he's the one that can have the biggest impact. Daniels is good.
But then you're asking him to be someone
I know.
Because that's one of the things is that he could be as dynamic with a 75-yard run or a 40-yard dart, an unbelievable arm, but it was the turnovers, man, and at the worst times. And for his sake, because he's a really good young man, for his sake, I hope that they can put him in that position to be successful.
Well, I think this is also a clean slate, right? Like, you can put all of that behind you. You can just start fresh. You're in a new environment. And I think you know that that's going to be the perception, right? Like, every game he goes into, that's going to be the main number one topic. If you can get past that, this is a way for him to kind of lay all that to rest and show that he can be the talented player that I think everybody knows he's super talented, but if he can clean it up, man.
It was nuts, though. His freshman year, he was getting Heisman Trophy type odds, and it set me over the edge because it never materialized to that point.
But think about what if it was as much where he was in the culture and that,
absolutely.
and then that Heisman Trophy talent goes under Chris Kleinman's tutelage and has Deuce Vaughn next to him and Malik Knowles and so on and so forth. And yeah, I mean, I think all four could be pretty nasty. Like, I kind of hate ranking them because I think all four could be really dang good where they are. I mean, Ewers at Texas, I think could massively improve them. I just have such a question about their O-line and the number of new guys they have. But, I mean, the weaponry he has around him is going to be ridiculous with Bijan and Worthy and Billingsley. And, so, I mean, could go on and on and on.
Hell, Rashawn Johnson. I mean,
freak show.
If he stays healthy, Whittington. They have from Scotty B. I say Adrian Martinez from the 4-3-2. Joe G says no showing JT Daniels because saw what potential he could have had at USC. The 5-8-0. We want Joey. We'll have Joey McGuire. It is very long. He was great. Just after 5 o'clock today. And Joel, if Dillon Gabriel is healthy, he'll put up big numbers. However, as a quarterback, winning the big one is the measurement. He has not played for a conference championship game yet, so it'll be interesting to see if he elevates his game in the big ones and reduces the tendency for turnovers. But I think JT Daniels is going to improve West Virginia more than any other quarterback that you're talking about in this conversation. Thanks for the text line feedback as well. And the chat room has had many different comments about it as well, from JT Daniels to Dillon Gabriel to many others. And yes, for all of you in the chat room, and we appreciate you wanting the interview, we'll have Joey just after 5 o'clock, Texas Tech head coach Joey McGuire. Martinez, Ewers, Martinez, Daniels. He thinks that Graham Harrell will get him going. JT Daniels, Dillon Gabriel. JT Daniels, Dillon Gabriel, JT Daniels. These are JT Daniels, a big sleeper in my book. So on and on, JT Daniels, Dillon Gabriel, and then there's a couple of Martinez and Ewers. So it's a pretty good topic. There's no overwhelming. JT Daniels, maybe, if you think about all the ones I've seen, with a slight edge.
I think that what that speaks to is just the excitement level that those fan bases have over their new guys, and that's just new quarterbacks that we're talking about, not even defensive players or skill players or linemen for those who have been in need of the big guys. To have a fresh group of quarterbacks, Casey Thompson was fine. Hudson Card's fine. But we know what the expectation is for Quinn Ewers and how night and day that could make UT. JT Daniels obviously is getting a lot of buzz going in Morgantown right now. I think Sooner fans, all they have to do is listen to Dillon Gabriel. They're going to be so in love with the guy and ready to go to war with him. And it goes in Adrian Martinez. I think the K-State fans, they're right there. They were bound to see some of those Nebraska games. They know how talented he is, and yes, what the issues can be as well. But again, it's an if, but it's a big if. But if certain things happen, all four of those teams could be drastically improved just because of those quarterback changes, much less all the other changes. And that's what's fun about this time of year. That's what's getting me itching about talking about it's fun. But now we are starting to get to where we're close enough to where it's not March, and we're got to go through all these months and months. We got to go a few more weeks, and we're going to see JT Daniels against Dillon Gabriel, and we're going to see Dillon Gabriel against Quinn Ewers in early October, and so on. And I can't wait because I think those guys bring a great influx of energy and excitement. I think the new coaches and the coaches that are still young in the league bringing a lot of excitement, because if you look around here, I know that media days is for everybody to hype up their team and not give too much away, but to really talk about the positives a lot. But I think all these teams that are here, when they're talking about positives, every single one of them has a legitimate reason to feel like they can be just as good, if not better, this year. I mean, every single one of them. Texas Tech has multiple reasons to believe they'll be better. West Virginia has multiple reasons to believe they'll be better. K-State, same thing. Oklahoma, Lincoln Riley quit on them last year. But they feel like they're going to be better now that he's been taken out. Baylor, there's plenty of people that, as good of a year as they had, feel like they can be better with Blake Shapen at quarterback. Now, I'm a little bit more hesitant. I think they can be as good, maybe not marks-wise, but like as a team. But I don't know how much better they can get. So remains to be seen there. And I'm also a little bit more of a pessimist because I see them on a daily basis. So I dissect them a little bit differently. But Kansas, they got to feel like they're going to be better this year with more time under Lance Leopold. But Iowa State, a little bit of a disappointment last year. Plenty of reasons to feel like they're flying under the radar and could jump up and surprise some people. I mean, just go on down the line. Oklahoma State, it's going to be hard to kind of get back to where they were.
Now, how come we don't hear much about
nobody's talking about Spencer Sanders in Oklahoma State.
Well, and he, of course, has to improve, but that's a school that last year was an inch away from winning the Big 12 title, playing in the college football playoff, and yet they're ranked third in the preseason poll. How come no one's talking about them being overlooked? Because in a way they are. Yes, they lost people. Everybody did.
I think that's
everybody did.
I think that's who they lost. I think it's losing Knowles as your defensive coordinator is obviously huge, no matter who you replace him with. I mean, he was before Jerry McVay makes that play. But throughout, even after that, I mean, the story of that team was not Spencer Sanders. The story of that team was Jim Knowles and his defense.
Yeah.
And they lost a lot of pieces off of that defense, and you lost him. So no matter how you replace them and go about that, that's going to automatically make people question it a little bit. But, I don't know how much better they can be, but they should be plenty good. TCU, we know the distractions last year. They were not very good. If the Baylor win, if not for that, that would have been one of the most miserable years in Frogs' recent history by a mile because they had nothing to hang their hats on last year other than beating Baylor. So you see what they've got going on and kind of the confidence that Trevius Tomlinson was talking about. You could tell the culture was not good there with Gary Patterson towards the end. That much was made clear, and it seems like that's starting to turn around. So they should be better as a result. And, I mean, like I said, on and on and on. Every single team in this league, unless I'm just blanking on somebody, feels like they can be just as good, like the top teams like Baylor and Oklahoma State, or everybody else feels like they can be better and maybe be in that position. I think that makes, with that, plus the coaches in this league, plus the new influx of quarterbacks, I think that makes for a really fun.
Anyone going to run the table?
Unpredictable year? No, I don't think so. No.
We've seen the hellacious teams not be able to do that and then Matt Campbell brought that up when I asked him about it. It's Kansas. Yes, we know what they've done, but then again, we know on occasion they've given somebody a hickey, and I'm not just referring to UT. I know that what a lot of people will bring up, and there are a couple of those that are like mind-boggling in a way. So appreciate all the feedback on the transfer quarterbacks. It's to me, that's a storyline. The new coaches is the conference overall, the way they play the game, which had kind of turned back more towards what Matt Campbell at Iowa State, what Oklahoma State with Knowles, what Aranda at Baylor has been doing with their defense. Can anyone else do that as well? Or is it going to go back more to the up-tempo with the additions of Levy and Dykes and Kitley, and then, of course, as we've talked about with UT, and quite a bit of their weapons they have accomplished or accumulated over the last few months. We're not done. Trevius Hodges-Tomlinson. His uncle was LaDainian Tomlinson. What an interview with him. A young man that was a spectacular high school football player who really was almost locked into Baylor and Matt Rule. But there's a wild card. His wild card is his uncle. LaDainian Tomlinson, an All-American legend, Hall of Fame college football player out of TCU, and eventually that was the difference. And then we've heard Bijan Robinson talk about how the team was not tight last year. We now, in a minute, we'll hear from Trevius Hodges-Tomlinson about he didn't feel like the team was together and they were somewhat splintered. I don't know if he used that word, but splintered last year. He could make a difference.
It sounded worse than I even would have thought to describe, honestly. Like, I figured if you would have asked me last year, like, yeah, it's probably not a great locker room right now just because they're losing and Patterson's kind of iffy on where he's going, right, Garrett? And it felt like he was, out of flux a little bit. But then you hear him say it, and not that he, dove deep, but just a couple comments he made. It's like, wow, it sounded like it was probably a lot worse than we even realized.
No, it was, and I think that's something that you've got to get over, right? And you don't want anything like that being a distraction and killing your locker room. I think that bringing in some fresh blood and rejuvenating everything is going to be really a world of difference this year for the Frogs. Obviously, I don't know who the quarterback's going to be. I think that's going to be an interesting piece to look at.
Yeah.
Chandler Morris, to me, is – I would start Chandler Morris, but I don't know what they're going to ultimately end up doing. But, yeah, I don't think anybody from the outside could have really predicted how bad things appeared to be listening to Trevius.
Yeah.
We'll have that.
They're automatically going to be a little better just because the locker room's going to
Yeah.
be healthier. That's ultimately what I'm getting at is they're on a better page as a team. And I think it sounds like a few of them are. And I don't think it's all just, hey, media day, everybody's saying the right things, because – there's no real need to do that. I mean, we're going to hear it ourselves anyways or whatever. Just be honest. And I think everybody's been pretty honest about where they are. And that's what I'm saying. I think everybody feels like they truly – it's not like delusional, like, oh, we're just going to be better through sheer willpower. Like, no, everybody improved or on paper improved somehow or another. And that's going to make it very interesting.
If they haven't, they're going to be left behind, because you can go from 8-1 or 2-8 and everything in between because of the way the schedule sets up. One note, we did have a couple of days ago that Open Championship leaderboard when we all pick players. Just a quick note, Cameron Young leads the Open Championship at St. Andrews, 8 under, 2 ahead of Rory McIlroy. Cameron Smith, Barclay Brown are also, Smith is 5 under par. Some of the other names, Victor Hovland at 4 under, Dustin Johnson, Scheffler, 4 under par. Bryson DeChambeau is 3 under par. Schauffele at 3 under par. Tiger Woods was miserable today. Hit the ball in the berm on 1. Missed a 2-foot putt for bogey on 1. He's not going to play this weekend unless he goes out and shoots something silly, and he's not. He just looks very much, and somebody put this up, please God, don't go out the way Willie Mays went out when he couldn't catch a fly ball for the Mets in center field. He shot a 6-over today, and it's like among the last 10 players in the field for an update at the Open Championship. All right, when we come back, Trevius, Hodges-Tomlinson of TCU. There are 5 schools here today. 5 different schools are here today. Oklahoma, Dillon Gabriel. Texas, Bijan Robinson. Iowa State, Matt Campbell. Texas Tech, Joey McGuire, a little after 5. And TCU with Trevius, Hodges-Tomlinson. An All-American candidate. Sick 'em 365 Radio and 365 Sports.
Baylor University is where lights shine bright. So, let there be light. Let there be roommates and teammates, scholarship and championships. Let there be fresh starts and new traditions, fast friendships and lasting impacts. Let there be laughter. Let there be joy. Let there be light. Baylor University, where lights shine bright.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Shorty's Pizza Shack at 12th and Bagby is a homegrown, family-owned and operated must-visit pizza place in Waco. Fantastic pizza by the slice or get the whole pie to share. Great happy hour specials every single day, and it's not just pizza. Great wings. You have to try the Sikkim sauce, chili cheese fries, pizza pillows, and more. Dine in for a great hangout or carry-out. Order online at shortyspizzashack.com or do yourself a favor and bring your crew to the restaurant at 12th and Bagby. Shorty's Pizza Shack. Tell them Paul sent you by.
Boots add protection. Good boots help you climb better and move forward faster. And when your son or daughter steps into the boots of a U.S. Army officer, they also learn how to lead. In these boots, they'll gain more confidence with expert training in one of more than 150 occupational specialties. In these boots, they'll stand a little taller and lead a team with diverse backgrounds and areas of expertise to successfully accomplish whatever challenge comes next. In these boots, they'll earn respect with valuable experience from day one that will give them solid footing for success into the future. Highly qualified candidates who earn a spot on our team can receive comprehensive health care coverage, college tuition assistance, and a bonus of up to $40,000. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543. Brad Boozer, Boozer's Jeweler, joins us on Sikkim 365 Radio. Boozer's Jewelers on the corner of Valley Mills and Lake Erie Drive. It's a staple of the Waco economy. What are some of the things you have coming up?
You know, we kind of call ourselves the wedding ring store. We do all of our own custom work in-house. I've got 2 expert jewelers on staff every day. We can make anything from scratch. We kind of pride ourselves. Probably 9 out of 10, every engagement ring we do is actually made custom to what the customer wants.
People look at that, oh my God, I can't afford it. I can't afford something like that. You've shown me examples that you could fit pretty much any budget.
It doesn't cost any more to custom make something. You still have gold, you still have diamonds, and you still have labor. Best thing about a custom piece is if you have any old jewelry or heirloom jewelry or something passed down from a grandma or somebody, we can take that jewelry and use it towards your wedding ring for the sentimental value, and then you've got the product, and then it's just a little bit of labor and a little bit of design on your part of what you actually want.
You want to know why they're successful? Brad Boozer, the owner of Boozer's Jewelers on the corner of Valley Mills and Lake Erie in Waco.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozer's Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house.
Back at Big 12 Media Days, AT&T Stadium in Arlington. And a very familiar face, Trevius Hodges-Tomlinson, former Midway star, TCU star, joins us. Craig Smoak, David Smoak. Man, whatever you're doing in college does not surprise us in any way. We always knew that no matter where you ended up, you would be a hell of a player. You enjoying yourself?
Yes, sir. I'm loving it here. Everything is going well. You know, my family loving it, and I'm loving it. So just ready to continue to do what I'm doing.
What's it like to be here today? Be a representative for TCU, be one of the guys selected to kind of come and represent the brand?
It's been a big deal for me. My family is very proud of me. You know, everyone that loves me is excited about what I'm doing, and I can't do nothing but thank the Lord.
You had a decision to make. You could have moved on. You decided to come back. New coaching staff, whatever. Was it the change that also wanted you, that made you want to come back and kind of experience something different?
Yes,
coaching staff, I mean?
That's another thing. You know, I wasn't satisfied with what I have done. You know, I'm never satisfied with the things that I've you know what I'm saying, done in the past. I feel like I could always do better. You know, and this is my last season here. I want to come back and, you know, bring a championship back to TCU. It's been a minute. Win a Big 12 championship. Hopefully go 12-0 and get into the playoffs. And then we'll go from there. And then, you know, also I want to continue to build my draft stock. I want to be guaranteed going first round, not wandering around if, maybe I may not be able to go first round, be second or third day. I want to make sure that I'm going first round.
How much did you have to jostle with that last year? Kind of the feedback that you got about going pro, and then, you know, obviously you had to make a decision, but how much of a struggle was that to kind of figure out what you wanted to do?
I mean, it became a point in time where it kind of got a little frustrating, but I knew that I could always come back and talk to God, and He would guide me through the hard times and the hard decisions.
You mentioned that last year's team, there was a quote in the paper about the changes, that last year's team was divided. Can you kind of take us through all that?
Yeah, I mean, we just weren't together as one. You know, we were too separated. We were a separated team. And, you know, we're doing a lot of things together now as far as doing activities together and doing a lot of team bonding. And I know what a championship team feels like, you know. Like y'all said before, being at Midway, we went to a state championship my junior year, and that team, we were really close, you know, and winning teams are close. And right now, what I'm feeling right now is starting to feel like it felt my junior year at Midway. So I'm really excited about what's going on right now, and I'm just ready to move forward.
So you had and part of all that went into that last year was a coaching change in the midst of a season. You signed up to play for Gary Patterson, right? I mean, that was the guy that you signed with, and then there's changes, and you had the interim and all that going on. Just how difficult was that personally and also as a player to kind of have not only a coach change and things like around you change like that, but also just the relationships and everything with that.
Yeah, I mean, it becomes hard to adapt to someone new. With life comes new things, and that's how I go about things. So, I mean, it was kind of hard at first, but I'm always good. I'm always ready to interact with new people, network and build relationships with others. So, whenever the new coaching staff came in, I accepted them, and I'm ready to play great for them.
How does a team get divided? How does that work? It's just maybe just over time? It's not like it happens overnight. Is it just something that just starts to wear down a little bit for some reason, relationships or whatever?
Yes, sir. I mean, I would say, not doing things together. And then on top of that, not always having the best seasons, and then people break up in small groups and then they start, talking, and then it just continues to just go on, and no one is ever just coming together. So knowing that, we just haven't had the best of seasons, so that has been a big thing on why we haven't just came together, but it's a new start, so, we're rebuilding.
Do you feel like people are kind of sleeping on y'all a little bit just because there's some other teams that are expected to be pretty good? There's a coaching change. Maybe you're just not top of mind right now. Do you feel like that is a positive for you guys entering this season, that you're being slept on a little bit?
Yes, sir. I mean, we've always been underdogs, and, I've always been underdog my whole life, and I've always overcame things and been able to prove others wrong, and I feel like this team is going to do a lot of proving this year, and they know what comes with TCU, so as long as they're ready and they know what we're coming with, then hopefully they're prepared.
How big is that chip, or what you've always dealt with? And you've proven yourself. You're a great player in high school. You've been an elite player in college, but you always seem like you say you have to prove yourself again and again. What's that been like?
I mean, I've been going through this my whole life. I was one of the smallest guys on my football team whenever I was in Little League. And I was the top running back in the nation in Little League. Then, coming into high school, my mother, she was like, because I'm originally from Marlin, Texas, so it's a small town outside of Waco, and my mother was like, we want to see how good you really are. We're going to move you up to, Midway High School, where the big ball is being played at, around Central Texas. And she moved me up there, and, I, showcased my skills and made the best of it there, and then came to TCU, and I'm still doing so. So the thing is with my chip, I mean, I've just always felt like people are questioning me, like, he's undersized, he's woo-woo, but I have all these other aspects that these big, whatever they call them, don't have. Dudes can't jump 42-inch verticals. These dudes ain't running 4.3s. These dudes ain't breaking on balls as fast as me. They ain't got the mindset like me. I watched the interview of Kobe yesterday, and I'm like, dang, man, this dude, we actually, like, it's like it's my twin. Like, I think, like, once I heard him talk, I'm like, wow, like, this is exactly how I feel. So I've been doing much more research on Kobe, and, I'm relating to him, and I'm just really proud of the man that I'm becoming today, and I'm finally starting to begin to open eyes up.
Is that kind of the purple Mamba mentality? I guess he was the black Mamba. You got the purple Mamba mentality there going. That kind of that same mindset.
Yes, sir. His mindset is different. A lot of y'all know and everything else. So what Kobe had done and everything was great, and his mentality is magnificent. And like I said before, I feel like I relate to him a lot as far as my mentality and my mindset of how I approach things and how I go about things.
You mentioned being from Marlin originally. I got to say, is there anywhere per capita, just the people born in Marlin or from Marlin originally, wherever they ended up in high school, is there more talent from one place than Marlin, Texas? Yeah. As far as originally from there?
Man, I think if every kid was able to get outside of Marlin would probably have the most players in the NFL in history. My uncle was originally from Marlin, Texas. Right. You guys know Devontae Strickland. He played at Midway. Jamarcus Satterwhite is from Marlin. That's a lot of guys from Marlin, and a A lot of people don't know it, but yeah. And then we also got some guys that has D1 offers out there right now that's playing in Marlin still today.
That Darian Gillette. And, they got a bunch of guys over there right now.
Marlin has talent, man. It's just all about just getting out of Marlin. And that was the biggest thing my uncle wanted my mother to do, is get me out of Marlin so that I can get that exposure.
Mansfield High School, McLean Stadium. You guys are getting kind of beat up. I just texted Jeff Hume, by the way, your former coach. I said, obviously, I know some of the highlights. And I said, tell me, he said a couple things, but the strip, you peeled it out of the guy's hand like a can opener and went the distance for a touchdown that turned that game around. And,
yes, sir.
Well, can you kind of, I know it's been a while, but what a play. What an unbelievable play.
Yeah.
And what, like about the 2 or 3, 5 yard line or whatever it was.
Yeah, man. That is still one of my most memorable games of all time. I love that game a lot. It showed the type of player that I truly am. I'm a playmaker. And once that play came about, we had just muffed the punt. I was like, man, I got to make a play. And they weren't throwing the ball. They were trying, like, Mansfield was a run-heavy team.
Yep.
Throughout that week and growing up, I've always watched Tyrann Matthew. LSU, he had always stripped the ball. And that was one of the things I was like, oh, yeah, if they're running the ball, then that's something that I could do to get the ball back to the offense. And once I seen them coming at me, I attacked them, stripped the ball, and my second nature is going to the crib. I play offense growing up. I'm gonna get to the touchdown for sure. And then you can watch the high school film. That's why they're trying to, TCU, they're working on getting me in and back at punt return again. And I get a feel of that again and show that type of side of my, abilities.
When you make a play like that, is it a slow motion? Because it seems, boom, it's so good. Is it almost like you're so talented, so strong, fast, whatever, that it almost is in slow motion as you pull it out of his arm?
Yeah, it's crazy because all of my, I think I had 8 strips that season, 8 forced fumbles that season, all of them were strips. And it's like, my first thought is, come hit him with everything that I got. So I strike. And then right when I strike, I just rip. And it just comes out every time. Like, I'm never, like, struggling with him, like, trying to get it. It's just like, then rip. And then, so once I hit him, the ball just, like, I just grabbed it and I just came out of it with it. Like you said, like, it was just something that, like, I didn't struggle with it at all. I guess, the impact that I came with stunned him a bit. I don't know. But, yeah, once I make contact and then I take it out, it's just easy.
It's a playoff game at McLean Stadium, for those that don't know, when Midway played Mansfield against Jeff Hume's former team, too, as well, and he took it back 90-something yards for a touchdown. Trevius, Hodges-Tomlinson with us, TCU All-American candidate, cornerback with us on Sick on 365 Radio.
Yes, sir.
Trevius, how much do you think that playoff run that Midway had there your senior year helped boost your, I guess, profile for college coaches? Like, I'd imagine you were getting recruited before them, but it really felt like that run that y'all went on, all of a sudden people were like, forget the size. And we were screaming it all along, like, this dude can play, right? Yeah. But then all of a sudden here comes Baylor and TCU and whoever else came at that time as well. How much did that playoff run help, you think?
It helped me a lot. It's crazy because I realized at that point, that was like mid-season. In high school, Texas football, it's like, 16 games? Yeah. And, like, I knew that was mid-season for us. We're going into the playoffs, and I knew how good of a team we had, so I was like, we got a whole another season left. Me personally, how I am, I felt like I wasn't doing enough. So I looked up every guy in the nation that was a top defensive back, in America. I looked at their stats. I compared them to mine. I'm like, I'm not doing enough. And that's when I started, I took my game to another level. And, that playoff run was big for me, and I understood that I had to do that because I couldn't come back and try to do all that my senior year. That's why whenever I got a chance to get at TCU my sophomore year, once I started, I made sure that I played my, I showed some of my best, type of football early on so that I don't have to wait till my junior and senior year. And now I'm just going to continue to build on that, the things that I've done and show these scouts the things that they're thinking that I'm missing right now, whatever it is, and then just continue to elevate.
Trevius Hodges-Tomlinson with us. Obviously, LT, even his legacy at TCU. And it always felt like that's where you were going to end up. That was going to be eventually, if they ever offered you, that was going to... had that not happened, would you have been playing at Baylor?
Yes, sir. I would have been at Baylor. Yes, sir. Baylor for sure. I liked Baylor. It was at home. But TCU has always been a place that I wanted to be.
Sure. I mean, it makes sense. It really, really does. You got him last year, man. You guys, the quarterback went nuts. Morris just went nuts against a hell of a defense, too.
Yeah.
What was that like?
It felt great. It felt like a championship. It was a hard-fought game. Things weren't going so well early on. I was able to come across the field and make a game-changing play as well. That ended up being an interception. And it was just a lot of, adversity that we had to overcome that whole week. And I feel like that was one of the most, perfect, well-written weeks that I've ever lived. Especially having a head coach, leave like mid-season.
So you have one more year left. You've talked about the goals and all the things. Craig's mentioned the fact that you guys are being slept on a little bit. How do you embrace all this from today through until you start working out as far as practices in August? How do you embrace all of this as your final year?
I just every time I go about, I go out on practice, wherever it is in the weight room, I just think about all the little things that's said, as far as rankings, as far as how they rank my team, as far as how they rank me, as far as who they think the best cornerbacks in the upcoming draft are, who they feel like it is, and then I just think about these things while I'm practicing, and it helps me go the extra mile, and I also preach it to the players as well so that they can keep that in their mind. So, build a chip for the guys that don't really have that type of, mentality and stuff like that, so I can get those guys going and, continue to grow as a team, and then we'll show them.
Is Carlton Buckles your position coach?
Yes, sir. He's the cornerback coach.
Okay, yeah, I thought so, but I just wanted to make sure. Obviously, he was at Baylor a long time. Baylor. We got to know him a little bit. What's it been like, just this new staff, Coach Dykes, Coach Buckles? I mean, how's all that working for you?
Coach Buckles, man, he's a great coach. He has a lot of experience.
Mm-hmm.
He's had Xavier Howard, guys like that.
Mm-hmm.
Xavier Howard's a great cornerback in the league right now.
Mm-hmm.
And he's teaching me stuff that, my past coach didn't teach. With every new people comes new things. So, great. Coach Mott, Jeremy Marcus was a great, phenomenal coach. He's one of the best coaches that I've had. And I can't do nothing but thank him. Coach Buckles, he's a new person, new coach. He has new great things that he's teaching. So, I'm just continuously elevating my skills and, becoming a complete corner.
You know where Modkins is from?
Marlin, Texas.
Marlin, Texas.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's incredible. There's another tie.
That's my cousin.
Shake my hand for a second. I want to try something here. Okay, yeah, that's not, you've got a grip. I always thought, I use that term can opener, the way you could peel the ball, punch the ball, whatever. You got a grip. What did you do when you were younger that your hands are like a mechanic, like somebody who works on a car?
Marlin is the country.
Yeah.
So we doing stuff, whether it's hay bales, or, growing up, Marlin, we grew up fast. We were always outside playing around, fixing on bikes, got wrenches and pliers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Taking wheels off bikes, spray painting, fixing chains whenever they pop. Jumping fences, running from dogs. It's everything. It's everything that come with being from the country. So,
I love it. God, that's great.
Did you keep up with Midway much last year? It was a tough year for them, but did you get to follow along very much?
No, I wasn't. I wasn't able to. I was so focused on, the season. I was trying to make sure because, it was a big decision. Was I going to go to the NFL?
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to make sure I was playing at my best so that I could, achieve my goals. But I still talk to Coach Jones a lot. He played at TCU.
Sure.
He was my coach.
Yeah.
Illinois. He was my coach whenever I was at, Midway. So we chopped it up a bit, but I didn't really keep up with Midway as much.
Yeah, it was a tough year.
Last 2 years.
Last 2 years been DeSoto, Cedar Hill, Duncanville. You guys would see them in the playoffs, but it was just district. But now they're back in Central Texas, so I think that'll be good for them.
Good luck to you, man. We'll be following you. Hopefully get you on again during the season as well. We loved watching you play and still do.
Yes,
thank you.
I thank y'all for having me, man.
Trevius, Hodges-Tomlinson, TCU All-American cornerback candidate. Sikkim 365 Radio, 365 Sports. All right, thanks to Trevius Hodges-Tomlinson as well. As you can hear that chip on his shoulder, and he's had it for such a long, long time. And that play at McLean Stadium against Mansfield was monstrous, and of course, that was his junior year. They went on to play for a state championship. They got drilled by Cy-Fair in the championship game.
Yeah, I think it was mentioned. I mean, obviously people probably picked up on it, but I don't think you said it in the intro. We covered his entire high school career.
Yeah.
I mean, we were there for every game that he played at Midway. And, he was a fantastic player. And we did not bring up the very awkward signing day that he had a couple years, I guess that would have been 3 years ago. I remember being at the old place and being there in studio, and you knew that Tre'Vius was really being pursued heavily by Baylor and Matt Rule. And sure enough, as we're in the middle of the show, this tweet comes out from Tre'Vius, and it says he's committed to Baylor. And I was like, whoa. And I refreshed it, and it was gone. And I was like, whoa, okay, what is going on here? And I think what it was is he wanted to commit, and it was early signing day is what it was, but he wasn't going to sign. And he was going to go, I think, visit TCU or something. And I don't think that Rule and company were all on board with him doing that, because that's your chief competitor, and, as a local guy. So that tweet got deleted real quick, and probably good that it did, because he wouldn't have remained committed. He would have flipped to TCU anyway, so I think they kind of tried to hide that. But, yeah, he ended up going to where his uncle LT went, and he's had a great career.
There have been two commitments, both from Waco City of Waco high school players. Trevius Hodges, of course, is Craig's story he just mentioned. The other one that was so dramatic was Andrew Billings, high-level defensive tackle that Art Briles and company were pursuing. And it was down to TCU and Baylor, and I believe there was another school that was in that mix. It might have been
Texas.
May have been Texas or someone. And we bring him in the studio. And I think when we brought him in the studio initially, I'm not so sure he wasn't going to commit to TCU. Then he disappears, because we had a little bit of buffer time. He disappears. He goes out in the parking lot, and you can fill in all the jokes you want. He came back in. I honestly thought that he was going to commit to TCU, and he picked Baylor. And my reaction was, Baylor? And I think what the Baylor staff was petrified of was the fact that here's a guy who's in their backyard, a hell of a player, about to commit to TCU on our radio station. And we were at the flagship, and it was the Phil Bennett phone call that just said, you can't commit to someone else on our radio station. It wasn't. We weren't owned by them by any means. But it's a great story as well. Now, we're going to break here, because we blew out 3 breaks yesterday to start the show with what we have had. We aren't done, by the way, with Big 12 coverage. We'll do this every day all the way through, of course, and even still not finished with getting maybe a coach or two on the show or an AD on the show between now and the end of the year. What we do know is we're back in the studio tomorrow. We look forward to that. Sikkim 365, our studio at 101 Elm, just off of MLK. Grayson Grundhafer will join us again tomorrow. Max Olson, normally Thursdays, he's going to be on with us tomorrow. He's on his way to the airport to travel.
And we are not going to be appearing at any other media days, but we will talk about plenty of what's going on at other media days as those start to pop up, because, this is the one that's kind of kicking them all off. So, the Big 12 will wrap, but then pretty soon we'll have some really interesting ones. Like the SEC, of course, is going to be a huge to-do with all the expectations that are normally there anyways, but Pac-12 Media Days is going to be something. ACC Media Days is going to be interesting as well. So we got that to look forward to. This is really just kind of getting the ball rolling here in Arlington. So that's going to be fun to have those all coming up as well.
And I think it's back here somewhere is the Sun Belt Conference, where where North Texas and them are going to convene with their media days. I think that's not this week, but maybe either late next week or the week after that, and we'll have some coverage. Not sure if we'll be at that, but we'll have some coverage from that as well.
And it was cool. Did we mention the UCF guys earlier?
No.
Okay, so we had
Jimmy Sykes.
Yeah, Jimmy Sykes came over here from UCF, and we'll have that tomorrow. But UCF had a contingent of 4, I think, that flew down here and have been just checking out Big 12 Media Days, because obviously they're going to be a part of this whole thing next year. And so is BYU. And I met a couple of BYU reps on day one. And Houston, I know, has had was Joseph Duarte up here. I mean, he doesn't rep Houston, but he covers him, so he was up here. And it's just kind of cool to see the new schools. Didn't see anybody from Cincy, but there might have been, and I missed them. But, yeah, BYU and UCF definitely sent some officials here. And we talked to Jimmy Sykes from UCF, and it was really cool to just see how excited they are. Like, they are stoked.
Yeah, they are.
About being a part of this next year. And he was breaking it down like they don't really have a media days like this. And COVID interrupted what they do have. And so for them to show up, they were like kids in a candy store thinking of the possibilities that now their brand's going to be under this same roof with all these others. And it's pretty cool to see that excitement that's already brewing.
580. Why is TCU and Oklahoma? Why are TCU and Oklahoma ranked so high? I think we know the Oklahoma story. TCU, I don't think they're ranked very high, and then 580, but they're higher than Tech. Here's another thing, and I want to.
Good question, though. I think you can make the argument that Tech should be above TCU. I think you can make that argument.
I think that there's two clumps, and I don't know how big each one of them is, whether it's 4 teams or 6 teams. There's some clumps. I think there's like 5 or 6 teams that could win the conference this year.
Yeah,
I really do believe that.
I don't know if I go 5 or 6 that can win. I mean, there could be. I mean, at least 3 or 4.
If a couple of things fall their way.
If a couple of things do. I mean, half the league's got a chance at it, and it might be all the way up to 6. But I know that Tech got voted, 9th, and I think they could finish better than that. I'm not trying to sunshine pump for them or anything like that. I think that they've got more than expected coming back, and with TCU there are a lot of questions. I mean, they don't know who their quarterback is either. They got a brand new coaching staff. And they got Trey Tomlinson coming back and some other good players as well. But
Quentin Johnston.
But, I mean, what have they hung their hat on for years?
Yeah.
Defense, and that's all changing. If you had TCU at 9 rather than Tech, then I wouldn't blame you for that at all.
580, thank you for all the fair and real comments, all the teams, regardless of your loyalty or where it lies. Thank you very much. Here's one that's interesting.
Best compliment you could give, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. And I appreciate this one, and yes, I will give this out. Can you say and give a shout-out to the Houston West Army Recruiting Company and the Brenham Recruiting Station? Yes, we love the military. And, in fact, the Waco Recruiting Company, Alfredo Farrar and also Dominique Williams, both of them are very much a part of the sponsorship of what we do. Dominique is about to have a change of command a week from Friday, and she has been fantastic to our show as well. All right, when we come back.
Shout out to, I forget the names, but shout out to all of you.
Alfredo and Dominique as well. Now, we have – I don't know if anyone wants to hear from Joey.
I don't think so. I think we got to push that to next week or something.
Here's what I'm going to see.
Did Garrett accidentally delete it?
Yeah. Come on, get this man.
Well, you probably should have waited another 6 minutes before doing this little stall tease, because we still got 9 more minutes until we are actually scheduled to play
Yeah, we're not running Joey till 5, and so let's break here.
Or we need to go ahead and play it.
We're going to break here. We'll come back. Let's look at a couple other things happening around the country as well. And the chat room, you guys have been fantastic. Robert Wright, TCU has a lot of upperclassmen. Doug K. Tech is very used to being underrated. Sam J., the UC Regents are meeting with UCLA July 27th. We brought that story to you a couple of days ago as well.
Yeah, we talked about it, but also said, I don't know what exactly that's going to result in or what that could actually mean. And I think my exact comment was I'm not very well versed or knowledgeable when it comes to the California system, when it comes to their universities and how all of that operates. So I've tried to read as much as I can. I still don't have a firm grasp on that. Basically, what I did gather is it's not going to alter what's already happening, and that is UCLA going to the Big Ten. And I think that's ultimately what matters the most. And so I don't think that's going to change regardless based on what I was reading. But, yeah, I do think that when that first came out, people were like, whoa, wait a second. If, that somehow got caught up and got changed, I mean, that would be massive. But, yeah, I think that train's on the tracks.
I'll read a couple of texts that we get, 254-339-1122. We'll try to answer some questions as well from the chat room and the text line. Joey McGuire, just after 5 o'clock. I think you'll love it because we did. 254-339-1122, Sikkim 365 Radio and 365 Sports.
I hate my job, but I don't mind getting up in the morning. I dread each day, but I can't wait to get out of bed. You ask me why, and what I'll say to you is true. Well, you can get breakfast tacos at Rudy's Barbecue. Scrambled eggs and brisket, they ain't fooling around. Sausage wrap, son, they're the best in town. Barbecue for breakfast, yes, it's true. Put a smile on your morning at Rudy's Barbecue. Next in line.
Baylor Scott and White, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physicians for Baylor Athletics, diagnosing and treating all sports-related injuries, including concussions. These specialists also provide orthopedic services for athletes and non-athletes alike, whether it's knee or shoulder pain, hand or wrist injury, orthopedic spine care, and even an arthritis and total joint clinic. Trust the doctors Baylor Athletics trusts. Baylor Scott and White, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics wants to get you back in the game.
It's summertime. There's picnics, reunions, cookouts, and so much to do. And Waco Custom Marketplace on Lake Air Drive in Waco is your home for the butcher shop that can help you with beef, pork, poultry, and seafood. They are spectacular at being able to deliver you whatever cut of steak you want. Bone-in ribeye, however thick you want it, that's great. They'll do it. Sirloin, T-bone, porterhouse, bacon-wrapped filet. And, of course, as I mentioned, they have pork, poultry, and seafood. Their Norwegian salmon is spectacular. Also, all of the sauces and seasonings you'll ever need, all the ingredients you'll ever need to make sure you have that perfect, flawless taste. So it's delicious whenever you take something off the grill. And a full-fledged bakery as well, with fresh baked bread and kolaches every single day. Up and down the aisle of Waco Custom Marketplace, you also have what you need, from knickknacks to snacks to more, at 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, Waco Custom Marketplace.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine, Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street, right behind the bank, is a hidden gem in Waco. If you're a fan of bourbon, especially local Texas bourbons, that's where you gotta go. Balcones, TX, Devil's River, whatever it is, they've got it. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, plus the best selection of craft beers in Waco, seasonally churned out throughout the year. Whether it's spring, summer, fall, or winter, Riverbend Liquor and Wine, best selection of craft beers, a speedy drive-through window, and excellent customer service. Find out more on Instagram or just go by and see them. Lakeshore Drive at North 19th Street, behind the bank.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
Sikkim 365 Radio is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
All right, we'd like to also try to clarify a few things from Catman in the Mountains, K-State fan. Said that he heard the Oklahoma and Texas media were quite pissy today because it's the first time they didn't have their own day. Just tuned. Not at all. In fact, they've never had their own day. It's 5 teams and 5 teams, and he said, but they always were on opposite days. No, last year we had Steve Sarkisian and Lincoln Riley back-to-back right over there when we were doing the show.
Yeah, they haven't always been that way, but I do think there have been times they've probably deliberately done that just to have, before they announced their departure. So they kind of had to, I don't know if they catered to them so much as that was the 2 big brands. So you put OU on one day and put Texas on the other, and just kind of makes sense. But, it wasn't like that this time. Wasn't like that last year from what I remember either. So.
And really, honestly, it's
been kind of weird, actually, in a good way. You would think with all of the tension just online or amongst Big 12 fans, and you guys are loud and clear about how a lot of y'all feel about Oklahoma and Texas and all that. But, you would think with all the hatred in the Big 12, this might have been sort of awkward, OU and Texas here. Like, it could be their last media days and all that, but not really. I think the fact that there's the new teams coming in, I think Brett Yormark and the way that he just kind of set the tone, and look, he's got a lot to prove. I mean, you can win the press conference and then not win much after that. He won the press conference, I think, even though he didn't give a lot of detail because he's really not even on the job yet. But I think with just this, new commissioner who's fresh and is somebody that seems like he could really take this thing in a new direction, and the fact that you do have BYU folks and UCF folks, and they're circling, and they're going to be here next year, and things like that going on, plus there's the positives of a lot of programs who feel like they're in a good spot. And the fact that, the Big 12 is basically on a lifeline, and right now there's other conferences that are feeling that way maybe, but they're certainly not. I mean, there's still questions, of course. You never know if the Big 10 were to call up Oklahoma State or something. I mean, things could go hairy, but, until that happens, there's a lot of belief for this to be a really strong conference moving forward without them. The money will go down initially, but, I don't think it's going to be so painful that they're going to be relegated to, playing – midnight on like Sundays or something where nobody watching. They're going to be just fine. It's going to be different, but in a good way. And I think that just confidence and that feeling is kind of permeating throughout here. And it's not so much, oh, boo, Oklahoma and Texas. It's like, cool, y'all are doing what y'all are doing. We're doing what we're doing. In the meantime, let's just get along and do what we got to do. That's kind of how I see it. And that's been kind of surprising because you would think there was a little bit more angst. And if anything, the only negativity I felt was – like Brett Yormark being up there and the first questions being from Texas guys about the exit fees. And, once that got out of the way, it was like just business as usual.
I saw our friend Tim Fitzgerald from PowerCat.com.
He was very bothered. He was very bothered.
He said, man, you could almost, you almost see the, what was the condescending type way they asked the question. They got a job to do as well. Someone brought up the UCLA thing, the board, the California, the whatever you want to call it, of the California education system. That was something really we brought up a couple of days ago. The legal part of that, I have no idea. I have no idea when it comes to most things legal, but that'll all iron itself out. That's just the next step. You remember when Texas, Oklahoma said they were leaving, there were Texas Tech and Baylor and whoever were down in Austin. Nothing happened. You had a chance to say what you wanted to say to your constituents and to whoever. It was a dog and pony show. It doesn't mean you didn't think it was something. Didn't stop anything. Did not delay anything. Nothing happened, but, everybody wants to make sure that they're on the stage. And some people were passionate about what they said.
Yeah, and for those that don't know, it's the California Regents are, meeting the governing board, and they're going to talk about, potential. I guess they're talking about UCLA's move to the Big Ten, and then I guess they could also discuss whatever potential option they would have. But like I said a few minutes ago, I don't think it's going to change. That train's all on the tracks, and it's going down those tracks pretty fast. So I think, maybe if you're a Pac-12 fan, you hold out hope for some sort of a Hail Mary, but I don't think that's coming. I think that's probably wishful thinking, and they're headed to the Big Ten with the Trojans.
I think out of everything we have discussed and seen and heard this week, the one part of everything, and we will come back with Joey McGuire, the one thing that a lot of people on the boards, on Sikkim365.com, in the premium section, Twitter, whatever, YouTube, was the question when we asked yesterday Brett Yormark about whether or not they have invited anybody, and the pause.
That was a long pause.
The long pause. Levi Caraway wrote a little piece about that. He's the one that put up the audio and the long pause. And here, the 512, Brett Yormark's pause yesterday, I think, tells it all. He was trying to find what words to say. Love the coverage yesterday. Love what you guys had on with Baylor. I'm paraphrasing here. Exciting season. Yeah, the pause was very interesting. He probably was trying to make sure he covered himself without saying anything that he didn't want at the time to say. So, all right.
If I had to go off of the way he paused, then, yeah, they've definitely talked to some teams, and if not, extended unofficial invites is the way that I would have read that, yeah.
SS Staff Sergeant Tucker, shout out to you. Thank you for being a part of the text line the last few minutes as well. All right, here we go. Some of you want it. A lot of you want it. Texas Tech fans, we had a chance to visit with Joey McGuire. When we come back, yes, go get yourself a cold beer, a toddy, whatever it is, or maybe a glass of water, maybe Gatorade. Joey McGuire, Texas Tech head football coach, here next on Sikkim 365 Radio, 365 Sports.
The secret to living your best life is pizza, obviously. Golden crust made from scratch, 3 fresh signature cheeses, and the toppings, crispy Old World pepperoni, savory Italian sausage, bacon. That's called a dream team. Find everything you need to live your best life and more at Marco's Pizza. Owner Bob Mock has been delivering pizzas since 2001 and is the proud owner of 4 locations in Waco, Belmead, China Spring, Woodway, and soon to be open in Robinson. Marco's. Pizza lovers get it.
Brad Boozer, Boozer's Jeweler, joins us on Sikkim 365 Radio. This is a great time for your business.
Exactly. And one other thing we do that a lot of people don't know is we buy jewelry, heirloom pieces, gold, silver bars, gold bullion, watches, anything you may have that you want to. If you don't want to use it and remake something like I did in a state yesterday and I looked at 35 pieces, well, they're probably going to sell me back 30 because it's something they're not going to wear, nothing to use. So if you're looking to get a few bucks or to sell something or something you just don't wear anymore, I make my wife go through her jewelry box about every 6 to 8 months, and the things that she doesn't wear on a daily basis, this sounds horrible, but I take away from her and then I'll put in my estate counter, but then that gives me the chance to rebuy her something new moving forward. Instead of looking down 20 years down the road and you have 300 pieces of jewelry, it's something to refresh and make her buy something new along the way.
You want to know why they're successful? Brad Boozer, the owner of Boozer's Jewelers on the corner of Valley Mills and Lake Air in Waco.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible and rewarding challenge. Hi, everyone. This is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like mortgage lending, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
You want to know why Stonewood Dental is so successful? Listen to what happy customers have to say.
It's pleasant. It's different than any other dentist office. I really feel like they care. And it's not that you're here for 2 hours waiting on someone to take care of you. It's quick and easy, and I bring my kids, and my kids love being here too. They really love the treasure box. Staff is really nice and accommodating, real friendly. You feel more like home. It's not sterile looking. Everybody has their own personalized rooms with decorations and decor, and they'll even have a blanket for you when it's cold. I've recommended people to actually come here, and they are patients now. I really love it here. It feels like family.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
They go to the eye. Play action. Bohannon back in the end zone. And a touchdown for Baylor. Drake Dabney's second catch of the drive, and it's good for 6.
Sikkim 365 Radio's live coverage from Big 12 Media Days at AT&T Stadium in Arlington is presented by Three Nations Brewing Company. Respect tradition. We make great beer with new innovative brewing techniques, and you can find Three Nations beers anywhere where premium craft beer is sold. Now here's David Smoak and Craig Smoak.
We are now joined by Texas Tech head football coach Joey McGuire. Still ever that just
I was going to say
coach.
It again, man. I mean, just it's almost like a pinch me moment every time somebody says that.
Matt Dowdy told me that when you got off the plane, when you were hired and you got off the plane, you shook his hand and you said, "I'm going to be the easiest head coach you've ever worked with."
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is natural for you. This whole thing.
Well, you've heard me say it before. I would be y'all if I wasn't doing this, man. I just have such a great appreciation for what y'all do, and it's so much fun to be around guys that y'all have a passion for what you do, and that's like us as coaches. And so I told him, I said, "Listen, man, whatever you need me to do, I'm gonna say yes, and we'll do it full speed."
Did you ever come with Rule or Aranda to media days? I can't recall.
No.
So this is your first time here.
Yes, sir.
What's it like? I mean, I know it's early in the morning and it's not quite picked up, but to be here, to know you're going to be up on stage in a little while talking about this program of yours, I mean, what's all that like for you?
Well, it was really cool, and it's cool for two reasons. Number one, this is one of my favorite places in the world to play. Mm-hmm. You know, we've played here so many times, and we have such great memories here. But walking in with my players, you know, the 5 guys, I can get emotional just thinking about, you know, the 5 guys that we brought. Whenever we walked in, you know, they were very proud. And when we walked in and we were able to see the field and the setup, you know, that was a really cool moment for them. And you know, I just feed off of their energy. They're really excited to be here.
Do you ever have moments where you're not full throttle with energy?
When I close my eyes and go to bed, that's probably it, man.
Yeah, you got to decompress and rest.
Yeah, I've started this new deal at night. Our sports psychologist, Dr. Bradstreet, had this app, and my wife laughs, and then Garrett came in the other night whenever I was playing it, and he's laughing because it's basically somebody kind of very monotone talking you down through different stuff and relaxing, and that's really I've started that because, you know, my mind just is nonstop all the time, and so I started that kind of try to decompress at the end of the day and get some sleep, but I've never needed much, so that's okay.
Rule used to use these.
Yeah.
And in fact, I do. You have coffee.
Coffee, man. Coffee. I get it from my granddad. He drank it all day, 24/7, and I'm the same way. That's one thing that it really doesn't keep me up if I drink it late at night. It's just, but it does get me going, so that's usually it.
There is, it depends on who you talk to about Texas Tech football. You know, last year you guys were a bowl team.
Right.
And I almost seems like, and Craig's brought this up many times, like people forget that. Yeah. It's not like the cupboard was bare and you're rebuilding this thing. You feel like people are sleeping on you a little bit?
They can. You know, I said this earlier, the team that's the Big 12 champs right now, they were picked number 8 in the conference. I was a part of that, you know, and so this conference is a conference that you got to play every single week. There's no off weeks, especially with Coach what Leopold is doing at Kansas. I mean, once you get into conference play, you better be ready to go. And so we're excited. You know, I do agree with what you're saying. Like there wasn't anybody that necessarily we can't replace, and we're a bowl team. And we have a lot of guys coming back, and we've added some guys. And so we feel like we're in a good spot. You know, I'm really excited. You'll hear it today, but the one thing that I knew our guys would buy in. I just didn't know it was going to be this fast. Like, there's nobody in that locker room that doesn't know which way we're going. They're all behind each other, and we're in a really good spot going into the season.
You mentioned you got 5 players here.
Yes, sir.
I guess on our release we had Caleb Rogers, Miles Price, Tyree Wilson, and Dadrian Taylor-Demerson.
Yes, sir.
Who's the 5th one?
So the 5th one is our Champions for Life representative, Tony Bradford Jr. If I don't say this, he'll get mad at me, from the North Shore. He always reminds everybody that he was a part of a national champion. It was very funny at dinner last night because Rabbit, he's from, and that's Dadrian Taylor. Everybody calls him Rabbit. He was like, come on, man, you didn't play anybody outside the state of Texas. How can you be the national champion?
Well, I mean, take us into how you decided. I mean, this is your first group to bring to media days. There is a process that goes into that. Not everybody just brings their star players necessarily. What made you pick these 5 guys?
Well, all 4 of them are on my leadership council. They all have different personalities, and you know, we brought 2 on offense, 2 on defense. We were 100% going to bring 2 linemen. You know, Tyree Wilson's outside linebacker, defensive end, and Caleb Rogers is our starting left tackle. You know, and I've never been on teams that if you're not good up front, you don't have much of a chance. I don't care how good your skill is. And so we wanted to make sure we brought our linemen. And then whenever you get to hear or get to meet Rabbit and Miles Price, they're the Energizer Bunnies. They're the exact same on one on offense, one on defense. You know, they never stop talking. They never stop talking about what we're about, and they never stop challenging their teammates in the right way.
You said something to me when you walked over here before we started that you saw and heard Dave Aranda yesterday.
Yes, sir.
And you said he's come into his own. He's very comfortable.
Right.
You could tell that just yourself. You knew that as they kind of turned the corner last year, but you noticed that with him?
Yeah, I mean, you've heard me say it before. I listen to everybody's press conferences. I've done that for years.
Forever,
it's
yeah.
kind of one of my hobbies of just kind of learning and just listening to different people. And, man, what two better guys to work for than Matt Rule and Dave Aranda? And, really total opposite guys whenever it comes to, what they, not necessarily what they believe, but, talking. I mean, Coach Rule, his dad was a pastor, and he has that, that fire and everything. And then Coach Aranda, I mean, his master's is in philosophy from Texas Tech, and that's kind of who he is. And I just think I was really proud yesterday, because I think a lot of Coach Aranda, and I really respect him and what he did for my family and was just incredible. And so listening to him yesterday, I felt really proud, that he does embrace exactly who he is, and then he's definitely comfortable, talking about the team. And, the one thing about all three of us when we talk about Coach Rule, Coach Aranda, and myself, it's all about the players. It is a player-led program. It is a player-centered program. And so whenever you have that, you got a chance to be really special.
What do you think of this players era, and how are you kind of adapting to that as a head coach where there is so much more freedom or things at their fingertips? And that's a balance, I would think, because you can kind of get out of control if you're too focused on one thing or the other. So how have you kind of handled that early on?
Well, I do think if you come in, so the first thing I did was meet with every player that was coming back and met with them one-on-one. And I told them, I said, look, I'm not asking for a chance. I'm just asking for you to be open-minded and let me prove to you who I am, and what I say I do, I'm going to do. And we are player-centered. The new building, the new football facility on that side, that entire building is player-centered, from rehab, recovery, the players' lounge, the equipment room. Everything in that building is all the strength, our weight room and our strength staff is all player-centered. So I think they've seen that, but we're in a new age. I think the commissioner said it best. We do need guidelines and some guardrails around what's going on in college athletics today, but you also got to embrace it. I heard Nick Saban say, if you don't adapt and change, then you're going to be a dinosaur and they're extinct. And so I think we have a really good plan at Texas Tech. We've got some exciting things going on, and so we feel like we're in a good spot.
Can you name a more, I don't know, is it passionate, loyal fan base than Texas Tech?
No. With Smoak, this is what's crazy is, my daughter's a Red Raider.
Right.
My sister, two brother-in-laws. My dog was born in Lubbock. I mean, whenever my nephew played for Cliff, I thought I knew what Texas Tech was all about until I got around the fan base, and it could be a Tuesday night and we're playing Iowa State in basketball and there's going to be 15,000 people. It's just, you kind of draw a circle around Lubbock and you can go 3 to 4 hours any direction, and those people grew up being Red Raiders. They grew up wanting to wear the red and black, and man, it is fun. I want to win, but whenever I get around those people, just the passion and everything, it just drives me even more.
Is it because it's, and I don't want to use the word isolated, but that Lubbock is island, it's almost on its own island?
I love the word. That's one thing.
I lived out there too, and that's definitely where that applies.
It's one of the deals, though. I tell everybody, I think we've been our own worst enemy at times about saying isolated. Look, I flew to Houston yesterday on a direct flight from Lubbock to Houston. We're going to fly back tonight from Dallas to Lubbock. I can name over half probably of the Big 12 that you can't fly directly into that stadium. So that part right there never bothers me. I do think because you don't have a professional team so close to where you can get there within an hour, that you do have that true college city.
Right.
You have that true college just feel in Lubbock. And I say city because we're over 300,000 people. We have anything and everything you want. I've gained 10 pounds since I've been in Lubbock because the food is absolutely incredible. I'm trying to work it off. I think camp will get some of it, so I'll be okay.
Joey McGuire, Texas Tech head football coach with us, Sikkim 365 Radio and 365 Sports.
You mentioned that facility,
Yes.
$200 million football project, and that's going to be getting underway after this season,
Yes,
I
sir.
believe. And just kind of take us through that process. Was this something that was already kind of being talked about before your hire? Was this something that you'd mentioned is out of need? Kind of take us through how this all sort of came together.
Well, they already had it in place as far as with the football facility. You have Dusty Womble, Regent Womble, made a $20 million donation to start that project. And then Cody Campbell, Regent Campbell, came in and wanted to, we were ready to do something in the south end zone. And so you kind of had two different projects. And whenever you had $20 million with the guy going one way and then Regent Campbell donating $25 million, and now it's the Cody Campbell Field, then they were like, hey, let's combine these projects and build them out. The plan is the south end zone, because the south end zone will also have a lot of football to it. Like our offices, our team rooms, our meeting rooms will be in the south end zone, and there'll be a sky bridge connecting the football facility. And so it only made sense to try to do it all together. It was huge for me because whenever I first got there, I wasn't involved in the plans of the football facility, and so with the new projects all going together, it allowed me to be a part of it.
How much does all this landscape change in college football enter into the bubble of the football program? How much do you guys as staff or talk about the USC, UCLA? We know what happened a year ago, after this a year ago. How much of that comes into play when you guys are talking?
Well, I said it earlier, it's above my pay grade.
Yeah.
My AD is absolutely incredible, Kirby Hocutt, and he's right in the middle of it. Excited about the new commissioner. Now, Bob Bowlesby is as good a man to me in the 6 years of being in the Big 12, but I'm excited about, possible change and adding a couple people. But for me, thinking about it, man, I'm really excited because I think we saw that with Oklahoma State and Baylor playing in the Big 12 championship. Just look at the numbers. You can compare them to any conference. You can add conferences together, and you're still not reaching the numbers that we reached in the Big 12 championship. And so I think we have a great conference, and I think there's a lot of people that want to be a part of it.
Do you feel like because it's been bludgeoned 2 or 3 times, that there's almost this that maybe be more on the offensive rather than be proactive and on the defensive?
No, I think it's important for us right now to be very offensive as far as what we're going to do. I will tell you, the 4 teams, we at Baylor played BYU, so we know what kind of team they are. We all saw what Houston did last year. We all saw what Cincinnati did in Central Florida. So we're bringing in 4 good teams that, there's a lot of people that wouldn't want to play them. And so I think the conference is strong, but why not be on the offensive and have an opportunity, if we have an opportunity, to add some more teams.
What did you think? Did you get a chance to listen to Brett Yormark?
I did.
Yeah. I doubt you've had a chance to meet him yet because he's kind of just starting, or maybe you have, I don't know, but
No.
Your impressions?
Well, he said it yesterday. He has called every coach in the conference, so I got to talk to him on the phone. Really excited. He brings a different look to the Big 12 as far as looking at it at a different way to add some teams. I think he's going, he said it, hip and cool.
Yeah.
We try to be hip and cool all the time at Texas Tech. I don't know, I'm the hip and cool
I'm not sure
guy.
I can do that.
No, me either, but I know our creative team and what they do. And so I think he's going to bring a different aspect to the Big 12. But energy. I mean, you just talked to him one time, and the guy's, fired up and energetic. And so I'm excited. I think we're losing a great leader, but I think, he's going to do a great job in that place.
I heard a story about you during the offseason that it's someone that you used to be on a staff with who was struggling a little bit with finances and kind of figuring things out, and you went to bat for him.
Yeah. Yeah,
there's stories that sometimes people don't know the background to stuff, but that you went, no, let's take care of you.
Well, we've been extremely blessed, my wife and I, and we both, I think, come from not a lot and have worked our tails off to be where we're at. And one of my really good friends has always told me, you know, when you're in those positions, it's your obligation to take care of people, that it's just not about you, but what you can give back. And you know, he was in a tough situation, and I will tell you, I got onto him pretty hard from the standpoint of him, because it had to be somebody else brought it to my attention. Right. And I said, listen, man, if you're with me, look, Smoak, we're stuck together for the rest of our lives. You know, I mean, really, I feel like people that have been in my life, I'm going to be by their side all the way through it. And so whenever he asked, I was like, man, I've got you. I know I always think of it this way, whether it's repaid, if it's repaid actually, or if it's repaid in some other way, everything's going to come back. Everything's going to come back. If you do the right thing by people, then it's all going to come back.
And I'm not bringing up his name because I don't want to do that, but I just wanted to bring up the scenario, and I knew that, and that didn't surprise me at all.
Yeah.
X's and O's. We mentioned the team and what you have coming back or whatever. What are your strengths? What are, like, the 2 or 3 bullet points, and maybe 1 or 2 things you have to figure out in August?
Well, it's a strength, but we got to figure out our starting quarterback.
Yeah,
absolutely. That's a strength. I mean, I would like to see a room anywhere in the nation that has 3 guys like we do, you know. And I told Coach Kitley, I said, Coach, you'll never have ever in your career have a room like you have. And he was like, what do you mean? I said, well, it really doesn't matter who the quarterback is. They're all the same as far as they all extend plays with their feet. And so you don't have to call a different offense on who's out there. They all have arm talent, so they all can throw any throws that we need to make. And so we have a really good, healthy room. It's a healthy competition. I was really proud that nobody left whenever I did not name a quarterback, because, you know, in some situations that happened, and it was a deal that they're really competitive, they're really close, they love the university, but we got a strong room, we got a strong running back room, we got 2 vets. When you combine their career, I think I saw that they have the most career yardage and touchdowns that's in the Big 12 coming back. We got to figure out the offensive line. Now, the people were there, the players are there, but we had 3 guys that didn't go through spring. 1 to 3 of those guys strengthen us and make us what we need to be up front. On the defense side of the ball, I'm excited about the secondary. We have some old guys that have played a lot of football, so I think that's a strength. And then we've added some guys up front, but, you know, you'll see him today. Tyree Wilson's walking around here, and, you know, I mean, it's preseason stuff and all that, but I will tell you this, if you go on the NFL scouting, right now there's 2 very reputable scouting services that everybody gets in the NFL, and he's a projected mid-first round if he plays the way he's supposed to play. So, you know, I was hoping that he would be on a couple of different teams, but it's fuel to the fire, you know. He knows it, and so I think we have a chance to be good on defense and be a little bit different than what Texas Tech has been in the past on defense.
What are your thoughts on uniforms? I know this is random, but Tech has kind of been known for uniforms. They've had all sorts of combinations. What's your thoughts now in place? I know Cedar Hill had some cool unis. Yeah,
we had 16 combinations.
You know? Did you really?
Yes, sir. Yes,
wow,
sir.
like Oregon.
Yeah, we tried. We were Under Armour, and, you know, that was one of the things. You know, we're going to come out very traditional. That first game, we're going to wear the black helmets and the red jerseys and the black pants. I will tell you this, our equipment guy, Zane Perry, who's the best. I mean, he's absolutely incredible. The first time I met him, I said, hey, listen, I'm going to tell you this. I was an equipment guy in high school for 9 years. We will not wear white pants on real grass. And he said, Coach, I love you. Yeah. And so, you know, combinations like that, it's going to be, you know, we won't go crazy. We want to kind of stick with what really looks good. I've got a couple guys on my staff, including Zane, that, you know, will put some stuff together. You know, we'll see what we wear in that Houston game, but we're going to start out traditional, and of course it all depends on if we get a night game. I know, you know, that all black at night in Lubbock is a big deal, and so we'll be a part of that too. You have many other people who want to talk to you today. Do you pinch yourself even today? You earned this. Yes. This is something you earned, and you may have earned it even before you got the opportunity. Is this still something that you every day wake up? Every day, man. Every day, whether it's walking out of my house, or whether it's walking out of the FTF and I see the West Side press box and just it's a dream come true. It's a great fit. And so I'm really excited. I'd be remiss, and you know this, I've said this to you many times, what Baylor did for me and my family in the 5 years that I had at Baylor, and the memories and the support, especially from Sikkim 365, but also just the fans and the alumni. It's absolutely incredible. I was really lucky to be where I was at. I don't know if I would be where I'm at right now if I didn't spend my 5 years at Baylor.
We hear about transfer portal, and players do that now in the middle of the year. You were in a very unique situation.
Crazy. Yeah.
How did you juggle that? And you had an opportunity. There's only so many of those jobs.
Yeah.
So you had to take it because jobs are becoming open earlier than ever before. How difficult was that to juggle that?
Well, and how much did recruiting play into that as well?
Yeah.
Because how much has that also kind of complicated a position like yours?
Well, man, it was emotional from the standpoint I love those players. I mean, Jalen Petrie and Terrell Bernard flew out to see us and, talk to the team and those guys, that team is so special to me. So leaving at that time, getting ready to go play in a huge game was really emotional. But like you said, I mean, it was an opportunity that we just couldn't pass up. And then it was big recruiting wise for me to get in from the get-go. And two things. One, to see what team we had coming back, to what holes we needed to fill, and then also to get in the jump on that 22 class was huge for us. But it was tough. I went to the Iowa State game and I went to the Oklahoma State game, but I did ask Kirby Holcutt. I said, I'm probably not going to be in Waco until I have to be in Waco whenever I'm on the sideline.
Yeah, you told me that. I texted you and you said I'll probably try to be as far away from that as I possibly can, because of the emotions involved. When it comes to recruiting and the fact you had to get involved early, you had some players that are now committed to you that were going to go to Baylor. How do you handle that conversation? Because you have to take care of you and your program.
Well, the one thing, and this is with both head coaches, we don't negatively recruit. Coach Aranda does not believe in that, and Coach Rule doesn't believe in it, and I don't either. And so I think it's all about us. I actually heard the commissioner talk about it yesterday whenever he was saying it's about the Big 12. I believe in the product that we are showing people. I believe in Texas Tech. And so that's not a hard sell. I don't need to talk about anybody else. And so it was one of those deals, give some guys an opportunity to come to Lubbock and do it the right way. And I know on the other side, because we have a lot of guys that were on that staff, they're doing the same thing. They're doing it the right way. And I think that's really important, especially, I will tell you, especially in this day and age in the portal. I remember whenever I was a high school coach and some college coaches calling my guys and they decommitted and wasn't real nice conversations, and I told my players it shows you who they really are. That's how you're going to be coached. And so we talk about it all the time is if we don't get a kid, tell them good luck. Treat them right. Treat them with respect, because they'll end up coming back to us in the end if that's where they're supposed to be. And so I think we're doing it the right way. I know learning from Aranda and Coach Rule, they're doing it the right way.
Thanks, man. Good. I know you. I don't have to say enjoy the day. I know you will enjoy the day. It's great to see you.
Great to
Garrett,
see you.
Debbie, all of them, the whole team.
Yes,
right?
sir.
Yep.
Well, I appreciate y'all. Y'all are amazing, and I'm big fans. So, if you ever need anything, let me know.
Our YouTube channel is tons of Texas Tech fans.
Oh, yeah.
They will love this today.
Yes. Yeah. Hey, Reckham, man.
Durwake, I'm going to throw out a note to you because he's a huge Texas Tech fan. Thanks, Joey. Appreciate it. Joey McGuire, Texas Tech football coach, 365 Sports. Three Nations Brewing Company has 16 different beers on draft with a new beer every Friday. It also offers 2 air-conditioned tap rooms, a large indoor beer hall, a second-floor mezzanine offering a great overview of the brewing company and equipment and patio where you can relax under the shade. Plus, you can now experience the new Three Nations Beer Garden Grill on our shaded patio. Grab a cold beer and enjoy a bite from our freshly prepared and delicious menu. Street tacos, quesadillas, freshly cooked burgers and dogs, and veggie burgers too. State Fair tornado fries, nachos, and so much more, all prepared and cooked on site. So come visit the award-winning Three Nations Brewing Company on East Vandergrift off I-35 in Carrollton.
Make latest summer sales event is happening now at Allen Samuels on the new 2022 Ram 1500 Crew Cab Lone Star. With special values up to $7,000 or get $1,500 bonus cash and 2.9% for 72 months. Ram trucks are designed to be durable, functional, and stylish. This legendary, award-winning truck gives you that first-class feel. Allen Samuels in Waco, the place to shop for Ram trucks. First responders get $500 extra cash.
Come by. Let's be friends.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Did you know that 1 out of every 4 men have symptomatic low levels of testosterone and don't even know it? And if you think you're too young to worry about it, guess again. Low T levels can make you feel tired and grumpy, cause weight gain, and wreak havoc on your sexual desire and performance. Petty Clinic Low T can set up same-day blood screening and results, so if you're tired of being tired, I challenge you to man up and Google search Low T Waco or go online pettycliniclowt.com. It's a private clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Affordable, only $150 a month, includes lab work, office consultation, testosterone injections, follow-up visits compared to $395 a month in Dallas or Austin, and you don't have to fight the traffic. Petty Clinic Low T as board-certified physician consultations will provide the best form of brand-strength testosterone available. Contact Petty Clinic Low T today, just off Highway 84 and Old Hewitt Drive in Woodway. Petty Clinic Low T, helping men become the high-performance men they deserve to be. PettyClinicLowT.com or Google search Low T Waco.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Baylor Scott & White Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physicians for Baylor Athletics, diagnosing and treating all sports-related injuries, including concussions. These specialists also provide orthopedic services for athletes and non-athletes alike, whether it's knee or shoulder pain, hand or wrist injuries, orthopedic spine care, and even an arthritis and total joint clinic. Trust the doctors Baylor Athletics trusts. Baylor Scott & White Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics wants to get you back in the game.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
The 5 o'clock hour is brought to you by Edward Jones and financial advisor Cam Heathcott. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
Wrapping up our 2 days, AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Big 12 Media Days. Appreciate Joey McGuire. Thanks to Matt Dowdy, who's the Media Relations Director for Texas Tech. We appreciate him and all those who have helped us have coaches and players on over the last couple of days. And from the 4-3-2, absolutely awesome interview with Coach Joey. Thank you, Sikkim 365. Reckham, and thank you as well.
Yeah, appreciate it. And
we appreciate you. And so that's Ferris, thank you for the comments. All of you on the chat room, we appreciate it. Now, here's what I want to do. From Katie Rader. Awesome. Thank you, guys. Best interview I've heard in media. Well, thank you for that. Tony, thank you for your chat. Artie Cat, he's talking Canadian Football League or something like that. But if you have a question about what we do and how we cover this, or any questions you're curious about us being here, we can try to answer them technologically or maybe programming-wise. We can do that, plus any questions you have. on what we've covered the last couple of days, and the Big 12 and college football, the landscape as well. So do that, 254-338-1122.
339.
254-339-1122 is the number and the text to ask us any questions you have. All right, we were doing this earlier, and Craig, you kind of went off on this again in between trying to get a couple of interviews as well. Who right now, among all of the 10 teams, Garrett, you can, obviously we'd like to hear you in the chat room response as well. Who has the least concerns? Is there anybody that's obviously out there that, man, they don't have, everyone has, no matter, Alabama has concerns. So does Georgia. Anybody who is it Baylor? Is it Oklahoma State? Who is it that has, perhaps in your opinion, the most hickeys that have to be covered up?
I think it might be Baylor, Oklahoma State, just because they were there and did what they did last year. And while I know Oklahoma State's replacing a lot on defense and Baylor's replacing a lot on defense, I mean, Baylor's got all their coaches back. They're replacing, like I said, the back half. But I don't think that, I mean, outside of like JT Woods, I don't know that, and Jalen Petrie, obviously, I don't know if the other guys aren't like impossible to replace. I don't think that Kalen Barnes was so good that it's like, oh my gosh, how do you replace Kalen Barnes? So there's a couple guys that left that you're like, okay, they could actually be just fine or better. There's a couple guys that you just can't replace. Like, you can't replace Jalen Petrie.
No.
That's just not going to happen. But given the fact they've got their D-line as absolutely freaking stacked as it is, that's going to help a lot for the part that's not quite what it was last year. And then offensively, I mean, yeah, there's questions at the wide receiver spot and at running back, but I have faith in Jeff Grimes to be able to find some skill guys that can do what they need to do. I mean, they've definitely got questions, but I think in comparison to, quarterbacks that we haven't seen at all, or coaches that we haven't seen at all, I like what Baylor's got coming back. I mean, Oklahoma State, I think they're going to be solid again. So I guess I would go with them because I need actually like a list in front of me so I'm not repeating myself. But, I mean, Oklahoma's got a bunch of questions. Texas Tech's got some questions. Obviously, the biggest one is Joey, but I think a lot of people feel good about that. Iowa State's sneaky, kind of quiet heading into this season. And although they're replacing a lot, it sure seems like they're confident that they can replace guys like Brock Purdy with Hunter Deckers and so on. TCU's got some questions. Texas still has some questions. So, yeah, I mean, I think that, you're probably looking at the two that were in the championship game, and they're not by any means flawless. But compared to other teams, I would take maybe K-State. Yeah, who you're going for? Yeah, K-State. Because that's why I said I need the list. I need to be able to look it over. Yeah, maybe K-State would be right up there.
I think, K-State has so much coming back, right? And then obviously when you put in Adrian Martinez, his skill set, what he's able to do, and we've gone over this numerous times, but I think just they have so much coming back. And hear Chris Kleiman talk, I don't think that you could really question anything they bring, but I really feel like Baylor kind of set the tone last year for teams that if the expectations were low, you can obviously prove and you can rise to the occasion. K-State's one of those teams that are on the same trajectory in my mind this year, so I definitely would go with the Wildcats.
Yeah, and it was fun to talk to Chris Kleiman. And, think about who among, and there's a different way of being intense, who is the most intense head coach in the Big 12?
Probably Brent Venables once he's out there. He's an argument. Joey McGuire will be in that argument, I would think.
Matt Campbell?
Matt Campbell.
Up there.
Yeah, he can be up there. He'll definitely get caught on a sideline shot, cursing it up. He can be definitely intense.
I think KU coach is pretty fiery, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah, he could be up there. I mean, I'm trying to think of just like I've never really sat there and just like broken it down in my head like that of who's fiery and who's not.
Well, Aranda's not. Inside, yes.
No.
Lance Leopold?
I mean,
fight to him.
Yeah. Neil Brown?
No.
Chris Kleiman? Maybe in between.
Sort of, kind of.
Gundy?
Yeah.
He really – you know what, though? When Baylor stopped the play at the goal line, we hear a lot about Aranda and how he just sat there and he was going through his motions. Gundy was very calm on the other side. In fact, telling his guys to get off the field. It was almost like he didn't lose his mind right then and there.
It's probably a shock.
Yeah, well, that could be the case, too. And knows his team was. Venables, fiery. And, again, fiery doesn't always equal success, but, because Joey, fiery.
And unless I'm mistaken, because I know there's some names that we just kind of, for years, can go back with Leipold.
Leipold, yeah.
For Lance Leipold. But who did you just say, Gundy? I mean, Gundy can get pretty fiery out there.
Yeah, but I was mentioning that last play, or not the last play, but the goal line play by Jaron McBay. And, Gundy could have been down on his knees, gut-wrenching, throwing up, basically. And he was over there just kind of coming, get this guy's off the field, which I thought was a very calm moment. And I heard that there were things that after the game, the way he walked and talked to some of the Baylor players and stuff, he almost, like he's in a good place. And that's a gut-wrenching thing right there.
He's been coaching for 20-something years at this point. Yeah. I think he's pretty much seen the disappointments. And not to say there won't be one that's the greatest that he hasn't experienced just yet, but, he's been in enough battles and lost enough of them in heartbreaking fashion to – he's got some maturity about him now. I think the young punk kid, talking about I'm a man and, that was never going to leave him quite all the way, but that's a long time ago at this point.
All right, I was asking about who has the most hickeys to cover up, and Tony, wear hickeys with pride, my friend. Right Katie Rader, Tech, lots of new parts in the football machine, no quarterback picked, and that Joey was talking about that being a positive because they have a hell of a room for Kitley to play with as well. Bernie Brown, if you guys, because of how you cover the Big 12, if it ever gets a TV program, would that be something you guys would be a part of? We are. We have our own kind of TV program, and that would be something that would be up to the Big 12. They'll be the ones that, they have the Sirius XM with Ari and Gabe Eichert and Dave Archer.
To answer your question, yes. We do something that's not attached to them. We cover the Big 12, but to answer your question, if it was like Big 12 official pregame show or something like that, of course, we would love to do something like that. But, we're not going to – you got to realize, too, we are – based here in Texas and cover Baylor. That's how this whole thing started off, and we're covering a lot of Big 12, and we're continuing to cover Baylor like a glove, and the Big 12 as well. But we'll dabble with the others as well, no doubt.
Sonny,
SEC, ACC, all that good stuff.
Sonny Dykes pretty laid back. I've seen him. I saw him fiery a few times, but he seems
that's
like
the thing is you say any coach, and I can picture in my head with the exception of like Aranda, them yelling and red in the face. But it's like how regular is that? I don't that doesn't really pop up in my memory very quickly, Yeah.
There's
like Sarkisian, I don't think I've seen him get too fired up, but again, maybe it just didn't stick with me. Miranda, I saw enough of him that you're like, he's not that way at all. Campbell, definitely seen more than a few fiery, ragey conversations with officials. Interesting mix of coaches. I think it's a good group of coaches they got in the league right now.
I do too. I do too. All right, we've all picked our teams and all that stuff as we're kind of closing this down. And next thing you know, it'll be the 1st of August. People start working out. Then there's games to be played. First game I think might be Northwestern Nebraska in Ireland this year. Aren't they playing over? I know they're playing overseas. It's like in
Dublin.
Late August, Dublin. And
you're the Nebraska fan, right?
Huh?
You're the Nebraska fan, right?
Yeah.
That's how excited you are for this?
No,
upcoming
I
season?
know that they opened up. I thought I knew it was at the end of August is one of the first games, and I don't. Okay, they were going to play, and I'll get up early and watch it, and then start cutting my arms right here from the disappointment. All right, Garrett. Jack McKenzie doesn't have a headset where he can talk, does he? But Garrett, no. You've not done this before. Jack was here a year ago. We had an incredible setup just like we have this year. You've never done this before. What are 2 or 3 things that stand out to you, whether from what you do or what you've seen?
I would say, well, first off, I think the people here do a tremendous job. The setup is really nice. It's well ran. But from as far as what we did, I think listening to Brett Yormark, there was obviously a lot of questions coming in. He really, to me, stole the show. I was real hesitant. And, I've talked in the past about how the Big 12, but I think he kind of solidified for me that this conference isn't going anywhere. I'm excited to see where he takes it. That's going to be interesting. Also, I'm really excited for Joey McGuire. I've been a big McGuire fan since he was at Cedar Hill But being able to watch his career evolve and where he's been able to go and knowing how he's going to really embody that culture out there in Lubbock, that's going to be exciting. Obviously, I think listening to Bijan, he's such a humble individual. You know, I mean, he has every right to be arrogant, cocky, whatever, but he's just really grounded. That was something I took away. But overall, man, this has been an excellent experience. I've had a blast. I appreciate all of y'all, and I'm looking forward to doing a lot more.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It was. We walked in the door. We were coming down the elevator this morning, and there's Debbie McGuire, Garrett, his son, who works for Matt Rule in Carolina. And then we come out here, and the first way we start off the show today with Joey as well, and we appreciate it. And they know that because we text them and tell them, those in the media relations department, that also know what we've done over the last several years, not just 2 years of being with this show, but other things as well that we do. The UCF guys, Jimmy Sykes, we're going to have his segment with us tomorrow. He's here. As Craig mentioned, there's a contingent from UCF and a contingent from Brigham Young. Brett Pine was here, and always you talk about someone who's delivered for us as well with Kalani Sitake, Tom Homo, among others. The notes that they gave us with Jimmy Sykes, we'll hear a little bit more of this as well. Fastest growing city in the United States without an NFL team, Orlando. Number 17 television market, the second highest in the Big 12. The number one tourist destination in the United States. Now, does this lead to football, whatever, but it's some notes. 2 international airports. We're talking just like even Chris Kleiman or Joey McGuire, you're talking about, Lubbock's 300,000, Waco's 250, 80,000, whatever, 290,000, whatever. But, yeah, sometimes the access is tough. The one that blew me away, though, 8 or 96% of their alums are still alive?
96.
Because it's such a young fan base. The university was not even founded until 1963. The youngest Power 5 school after playing only 25 years of FBS football, and look where they are now. And, yeah, I remember back when Blake Bortles was there, and they beat Baylor in the Fiesta Bowl, and Baylor just – I'm not going to say they no-showed because that wouldn't be fun to fair to UCF. UCF ran right through them. It seemed like that Baylor was – their legs were left on the streets of Scottsdale and maybe Phoenix that week. And the distraction of Art Briles in the University of Texas was there as well. Anything else, Craig, to kind of cap it off?
No, just had a good time this weekend. We are coming back, so let's, I guess, take our final break, and then I'll have some final thoughts.
All right.
We got a whole other segment to go here.
Back in a moment. Sikkim 365 Radio, 365 Sports.
Cars priced right both day and night at Richard Car in Texas. Trucks built for you, red, white, and blue at Richard Car in Texas. Cars that zoom with lots of room at Richard Car in Texas. Count on us, a dealer to trust at Richard Car in Waco, Texas.
Baylor University is where lights shine bright. So, let there be light. Let there be roommates and teammates, scholarship and championships. Let there be fresh starts and new traditions, fast friendships and lasting impacts. Let there be laughter. Let there be joy. Let there be light. Baylor University, where lights shine bright.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible and rewarding challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like our free First mobile app, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. That's the First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
In Texas, there's pea-size hail and baseball-size hail. Guess which one hit our house? We didn't even know where to begin, but we called our Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent, and he was so reassuring. He knew exactly what to do to get our house back into shape and our lives back to normal. Now, we're even more thankful for the roof over our heads.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Automatic Chef Canteen is a full-service micro-market vending and office coffee provider with state-of-the-art vending equipment, a wide variety of products, and offering custom-fitted micro-market vending office coffee solutions for your employee break room. You want a full break room solution and a workplace oasis? Well, Automatic Chef Canteen, locally owned and operated for over 50 years in Central Texas, also includes in-house mechanics on call 24/7 for fast, reliable service and maintenance. Automatic Chef Canteen, 6900 Imperial Drive in Waco, or online at automaticchefcanteen.com.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio. Are you a Sikkim 365 superfan? Then try out our premium subscriptions at Sikkim365.com.
A lot of you looking forward to tomorrow. We're about to wrap up today. Hayden Maxwell asked me a question, Craig, to you, and I asked him to ask me the question again. How confident you felt after Yormark's responses and remarks on expansion, and if you are, who do you feel like would be the first school to join if they do add it to the Big 12?
I feel, how do I want to do it? I don't want like a numerical confidence level. I don't know if I want to do that. Like I'm 80% or I'm pretty dadgum confident. There's the East Texan in me. I'm pretty dadgum confident that the Big 12 is going to be adding some more teams with Brett Yormark, just based simply off the way he was talking and the fact that I think it's very clear they can't just probably stay pat entirely. If there are some teams that are valuable enough, and especially with whatever his vision is, that you can add to the mix that can improve your lot, get you out west a little bit more. And look, the one thing that we do know for sure is that he has been talking constantly to TV people. Mac Rhodes has been talking quite a bit, you can confirm, to TV people. People across the league have been talking to TV people and getting every bit of information they can ahead of this negotiation here in the next 2-3 years about, okay, if we add these teams, what does that look like? If we they're looking at every possible scenario. So knowing all of that and knowing that the last thing that they're doing is just sitting on their hands, and the last thing they will do with Brett Yormark is sit on their hands based on what we know of him, I feel very confident they're going to expand to some extent. To answer the other part of that question, the ones that seem to be most consistently mentioned, Arizona seems to get mentioned a lot. Like, in no matter what grouping that you talk about, whether it's Colorado and it's Arizona, or it's Arizona State and Arizona, or it's Utah and Arizona. And it's like they're the one school that every time somebody puts out some new tweet or some new report or whatever, Arizona is usually always one of those Pac-12 schools that's mentioned. And I know others have made the argument that basketball doesn't really do much in the grand scheme of things, that it's more about football, and in football maybe they don't necessarily bring what you think they might bring, but that would be my guess. I don't know, though. I don't know what these TV execs are saying, but Arizona seems like a really safe bet. And then beyond that, like Utah and Colorado, I think would probably be my next up, and not much differentiation between those schools.
I really don't know. I don't want to say something just to answer your question. I do know this. There's been a lot of people within the Big 12, and not just Brett Yormark, but others as well, who have the ability to make decisions and be a part of making the decisions, that have spent a hell of a lot of time this week getting and understanding media, TV rights, things that matter. Not just the obvious of ratings or eyeballs. Much deeper than that. But yes, consultants of TV how things like that work. And you may think it's simple, and that should be it, but I'm talking digging deep and being kind of given some information so they can make some decisions as well.
If Bob Bowlesby was still the commissioner, I don't know what I would feel like, but I think with Yormark and just hearing him yesterday and seeing what's going on with the Pac-12 and reading between the tea leaves, I think that they're definitely going to be adding something, and I hope that whatever happens, if in fact the Big 12 poaches from the Pac-12, if that's how it goes, I don't wish for the end of the Pac-12 by any means. I won't want that for those schools out there. And I know it's a really weird time for them, and it's still, until the Big 12 feels fully settled, it's going to feel weird for those schools too, because you never know when the Big 10 calls Oklahoma State, or, just for throwing a scenario out there. So I think everybody's got a reason to be nervous, Pac-12 more so than probably anybody, although definitely feeling better than they felt probably a week ago, right? But, yeah, I mean, those are the questions that we'll learn more about certainly over these coming weeks. But, I don't think Brett Yormark's sitting on his hands, and if I had to just pick a team, I'd pick Arizona.
Arizona, and I think that the next would possibly be Utah. There's who you might want, but who's also wanting to be wanted. We got to go.
I know, but that's if Oregon and Washington are staying together in a pact. If they say screw it, all bets are off, then that changes my answer.
Yeah, and who knows? Maybe there's just as we said to start everything yesterday morning, kind of a calming of the next few weeks. Nothing seems to be imminent, which means it probably is. Garrett, thank you. Garrett Ross, Jack McKenzie, Emery Winter, Levi Caraway for Craig Smoak. Had a great time. 2 days here in Arlington. Thanks to Bob Berta for the interview we had with Brett Yormark, but with all of everybody who's been a part of the behind the scenes and giving us and helping us give you what you hope you get every day from us, the coverage of college football. Good night from Arlington, Texas. I'm David Smoak.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We're open to support you while lowering the cost of healthcare bills. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.